Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Rwby sees Naruto's car's konoha. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Awesome 10 Tales and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Legends, stories scattered through time. Mankind has grown quite fond of recounting the exploits of heroes and villains, forgetting so easily that we are remnants, byproducts, of a forgotten past. Man, born from dust, was strong, wise, and resourceful, but he was born into an unforgiving world. An inevitable darkness, creatures of destruction, the creatures of Grimm, set their sights on man and all of his creations. These forces clashed, and it seemed that the darkness was intent on returning man's brief existence to the void. However, even the smallest spark of hope is enough to ignite change, and in time, man's passion, resourcefulness, and ingenuity led them to the tools that would help even the odds. This power was appropriately named dust. Nature's wrath in hand, the man lit their way through the darkness, and in the shadow's absence came to strength, civilization, and most importantly, life. But even the most brilliant lights eventually flicker and die. And when they are gone, darkness will return. So you may prepare your guardians, build your monuments to a so-called free world, but take heed, there will be no victory in strength. We find a male around 15, he has blonde spiky hair and blue eyes, along with fox-like whisker marks and yellow fox ears popped out of his hair and a long yellow fox tail, and he has fair skin. He is wearing a white dress shirt under an orange suit vest and orange dress pants, but with steel-toe combat boots. He also has specially made earbuds that have 4 parts instead of 2 for his extra pair of ears. He is listening to a song called Boulevard of Broken Dreams. This is Naruto Uzumaki, and he is currently reading a magazine on different weapons in a shop called From Dusk Till Dawn. Standing right beside Naruto also reading a magazine on weapons is a female also 15, she has black neck-length choppy hair that is also dark red at the tips, she has silver eyes. She is wearing a black long-sleeved dress with red trim on the sleeves, a black waist cincher with red lacing up the front, her skirt also has red trim, along with a thick pair of black stockings and black combat boots with red laces, and topping it all off is a red hooded cloak. This is Ruby Rose, and she is currently listening to a song called This Will Be the Day while reading the magazine. They are both interrupted from their reading by 2 thuggish looking guys who are both wearing black suits with black shoes and a black hat. They also have a red tie along with red sunglasses. Both of them are pointing at their ears, indicating for Naruto and Rwby to take their earbuds headphones out off. Okay, you two put your hands in the air. They look at each other before saying at the same time. Are you robbing us? They ask. Yes. Oh. In the next instant, both of the thugs were thrown out of the shop through the window, with both Naruto and Rwby standing on both of them. The head of a guy pops out of the door, he has long bright orange hair and dark green eyes, his right eye is covered by his hair, he is wearing a red-lined white suit and long black pants along with black shoes, he also has accessories including a gray scarf, black gloves and a black bowler hat with a red band, he is also carrying a cane. Okay, get them. The rest of the thugs run out of the store. Naruto grabs one of them with his tail and throws them away. Cut to Rwby as she uses her side to kick a thug in the face, and then she pulls a lever on the pole of the side that shoots a blast of dust with enough force to land the butt end of the side into the stomach of another thug with enough force to knock him out. Cut back to Naruto as he jumps over the last thug and brings his foot into his face to knock him out, but he also hears a resounding crunch marking a broken nose. Hey whoops, Naruto says sheepishly. They hear the guy with orange hair. You were worth every cent, truly you were. Well, this has been an eventful evening, but sorry to say Foxy, Red, but I can't stick around. He says as he pulls his cane up and points it at Rwby. So this is where we part ways. He says as a fire dust round is loosed from his cane. Shit, Naruto says as he pushes Rwby out of the way and is propelled back a couple of feet from the tiny explosion. Are you alright, you're bleeding? Asks Rwby. He gets up and she sees pieces of stone being pushed out of the wounds and seals up instantly. Yeah, I'm fine. Hey shopkeep, you alright if we go after him? Naruto asks. They both follow the guy with orange hair to the top of a building. Hey. Persistent, aren't we? They are both slightly blinded by a light from Bullhead, end of the line you two, he says as he throws a fire dust crystal and then shoots at it, causing a slight smoke screen when it settles. He realizes that a glyph-like barrier blocked the explosion from hitting the 2 teens. When the barrier disappears, they see a woman with very light blonde hair tied back in a bun, her eyes are bright green, and she's wearing a white long-sleeved pleated top with gauntlet cuffs and black high-waisted pencil skirt and black with bronze heels, and to complete her look is a black cape that is purple on the inside, and on the back is an emblem of a tiara, along with accessories including glasses, a pendant and earrings. This is Glinda Goodwitch. She points something that looks like a riding crop at the bullhead, and she manipulates dust into crystals and shoots them at the bullhead, making it falter. The orange-haired guy goes to the front a woman, "We've got a huntress," and he takes control of the bullhead, then he hears thunder, he looks up and sees dark clouds, then shards of ice rain from the clouds, one almost gets his head. Then they see the woman standing at the door, and they see intricate symbols glow as she throws a fireball at Goodwitch and then causes something like a geyser that Goodwitch dodges, but it breaks bit of the roof hat Goodwitch manipulates into the shape of a spear. The guy who is now flying the bullhead tilts it so that the spear hits the top of the bullhead and breaks. Goodwitch then manipulates the pieces into 3 spears, but the mysterious woman causes them to break. Then Rwby shifts her scythe into a rifle-like appearance and shoots at the bullhead, but the mysterious woman somehow blocks the shots and then does the geyser-like attack under all 3 of them, but Goodwitch pulls the 3 of them out of the way, but that was just enough time for the guy with orange hair and the mysterious woman to escape. Naruto gets up in time to hear Rwby ask Goodwitch for an autograph. He. Naruto sees Goodwitch looking at them both sternly. Oh. Undisclosed location. We find Rwby, Naruto and Goodwitch in a dark room. Rwby is sitting at the only table in the room, while Naruto is leaning against the wall, and Goodwitch is pacing in front of the door. "I hope you two realize your actions will not be taken lightly, the 2 of you could have been hurt or someone else," they hear Naruto pipe up. "Better us than the old man they were robbing," Naruto says. "Yeah, plus they started it in the first place," says Rwby. "If it were up to me you two would be sent home with a pat on the back and a slap on the wrist. But there is someone here who would like to meet you," she says pointing at Rwby. After she says that a man walks through the doorway. He looks middle-aged with tousled silver hair and thin brown eyes. He is wearing a green shirt under a dark green vest under an unzipped black suit, long dark green pants and black trouser shoes. His accessories include a green cowl around his neck with a cross pin and shaded glass spectacles. This is Professor Ozpin, the headmaster of Beacon Academy. "Ruby Rose, you have silver eyes," says Ozpin. "Did I mention that he is also holding a plate of cookies and a mug with hot cocoa? So, where did you learn to do this?" he says as he points to a screen showing her and Naruto's fight with the thugs. "That's Signal Academy," responds Rwby. "They taught you how to use one of the most dangerous weapons ever designed by mankind?" asked Ozpin. "Well, one teacher in particular," says Rwby. "I see," he says as he places the plate of cookies down in front of her and she proceeds practically inhale the cookies. "She's just like you, Summer." Ozpin thinks fondly. "I've only seen one other scythe wielder of that skill before now, a dusty old crow," says Ozpin. "Ashman call, sorry, that's my Uncle Crow. He's a teacher at Signal. I was complete garbage before he trained me," says Rwby. "Wait, you're related to Professor Branwyn, that explains why your fighting style seems so familiar," says Naruto. "Well, we're not related by blood, he's my sister's uncle, but he also took the place of being my uncle, since he and my mom were a part of the same team at Beacon," says Rwby. "So why is a girl like you going to a school designed to train warriors?" asks Ozpin. "Well, I want to be a huntress," says Rwby. "You want to slay monsters?" asks Ozpin. "More than anything, I only have 2 more years left at Signal, then I'm going to apply to Beacon," says Rwby. "That means you and I are in the same class, Ms. Rose," says Naruto. "That's cool, I want to go to Beacon since my sister's going there this year and she's trying to become a huntress also, and I'm trying to become a huntress because I want to help people," says Rwby. "Do you know who I am?" asks Ozpin. "You're Professor Ozpin, the headmaster of Beacon, no disrespect professor, but if you just wanted to talk to me, why is Naruto here as well?" asks Rwby. "Ah yes, Naruto, you did well dodging this question, but it's time you tell me why you wanted to be a hunter, young man," orders Ozpin. "Well, like Ms. Rose said, I want to help people, but I also want to prove that someone like me can become something more than just a freak," says Naruto solemnly. Rwby sees Ozpin and Goodwitch flinch when he called himself a freak and wonders why he said that but doesn't voice it. "You both want to come to my school?" asks Ozpin. "More than anything," responds Rwby. "Of course," responds Naruto. They see him look up at Goodwitch and she looks away. "Well, okay, welcome to Beacon you two. Now Ms. Rose, where are you staying considering all modes of transportation back to Patch are shut down at this time of night?" says Ozpin. Well, I kind of was at the dust shop the entire time after I left school, heh, Rwby responds sheepishly. "So you don't have a place to stay at?" Ozpin asks. Yeah," Rwby says downcast. Naruto, do you mind giving Ms. Rose a place to stay?" Ozpin asks. "And no he doesn't, Rwby tries to say. "As I took a bullet for her, I don't think I mind giving her a place to stay," Naruto responds. "Apartment?" "Naruto, why are you giving me a place to stay?" asks Rwby. "Well, it's like I said, I took a bullet for you, so I don't mind giving you a place to stay, and if I make at least one friend the people who raised me will get off my ass about making friends. Plus it's what my idea of a hunter is, someone who helps people in need no matter what," responds Naruto. 2 days later. "Oh, I can't believe my baby sister is going to Beacon with me. says a girl hugging Rwby. She is 17, has long golden blonde hair and lilac-colored eyes. She is wearing a low-cut yellow crop top with her emblem on the left breast side of the shirt, under a tan jacket that bears her midriff with puffy sleeves and black collar, along with a pair of black mini shorts under a brown belt and brown knee-high boots with orange over-the-knee socks. Her accessories include a pair of black fingerless gloves and an infinity scarf, and around her wrist are a pair of items that looks like large bracelets. This is Yang Xiaolong, Rwby's older sister. "This is the best day ever," says Yang. "Please stop," Rwby asks in slight pain. "But I'm so proud of you," Yang squeals. "Sis, I didn't fight those thugs, and that criminal alone. Naruto here helped me," she said as it pans over to Naruto leaning against the wall with the same style of clothes as he was wearing the night they met. Is the same exact set of clothes, just not damaged. "Hey Naruto," says Yang. "Yes Ms. Xiaolong," responds Naruto. "Rwby said you were dressed the same the other night, so why were you at a dust shop instead of at the Signal Academy dance?" asks Yang. "Well, in the word of the man that raised me, I am the most antisocial Franus on the planet, so I was as far away from a dance as I could be without leaving Vale," Naruto responds. "Geez Rwby, you sure know how to pick him. He's even worse than you are," Yang says. "Yang, don't say that he's not as bad as he makes it seem, considering he took a bullet for me and gave me a place to stay while we waited for today," Rwby tries to defend him. "Wait, you're the one who Osborne told my dad she was staying with when he said someone he trusted," Yang growls out, holding him against a glass by his collar. Surprising both of them, he still looks completely bored. "Ms. Xiaolong, if you're trying to scare me, that's a fruitless venture. My past scarred me well enough that even the strongest Grim couldn't scare me," he says as she drops him at the thought of someone Franus or not supposedly having such a bad past. Before they can say anything, Naruto realizes what he said and he runs off. "Well, that was odd," Yang says. "Yang, you just scared of the one person who understood my love of weapons," Rwby says excitedly. "Really, why?" Yang asks. "Because he prefers working with weapons than talking to people also," Rwby says. The robbery was led by nefarious criminal Roman Torchwick, who continues to evade authorities. "That's the guy you and Naruto fought, right, Rubes?" Yang asks. "Yeah," Rwby responds. They now see a lady on the screen. In other news, this Saturday's front a civil rights protest turned dark when members of the White Fang disrupted the ceremony. The once peaceful organization has now disrupted. But the news is replaced by a hologram of Goodwitch. "Hello, and welcome to Beacon. My name is Glinda Goodwitch. You are among a privileged few who have received the honor of being selected to attend this prestigious world, is experiencing an incredible time of peace, and as future huntsmen and huntresses, it is your duty to uphold that peace. You have demonstrated the courage needed for such a task, and now, it is our turn to provide you with the knowledge and the training to protect our world." They hear retching sounds off to the side and see a guy the same age as Yang. He has short, messy, dark blonde hair and dark blue eyes. He is wearing a black short-sleeved hoodie with a picture of a bunny on it, along with detached reddish-orange sleeves. Covering his hoodie is a white diamond-shaped chestplate and white spolders topped off with blue jeans and black sneakers. The accessories include 2 crisscrossed belts. The only other thing on his person is a sword and its scabbard. "Well, I guess the view isn't for everyone," Yang says. "It was a nice moment while it lasted," says Rwby. "Don't worry about him, he has horrible motion sickness. His name is John Ark." They look over and see Naruto leaning against the wall again. "Sorry about running off, I don't like to talk about my past." We see a giant bullhead ship dock and we see John run to a trash can and empty his guts, and then it pans over and we see Naruto, Rwby, and Yang. "The view form veil has nothing on this," says Yang. "That's true Ms. Xiaolong," Naruto says, agreeing. They both look over and see Rwby fanboying while looking at all the weapons. "Ms. Rose, I know weapons are much better than people, but in like that he is right beside her. Holy moly, that guy has a flaming sword that is so awesome." Yang is sweat dropping at how similar the two of them are in this instant, but gets over it and grabs them by their collars. "Okay, you two dial it back, you two just look like a couple," Yang says jokingly. They see Naruto's eyes darken. "Oh sorry, did I say something wrong?" Yang asks worryingly. No Ms. Xiaolong, it's just love has always ended hurting me in the end," Naruto says sadly. "I'm not going to pry, but this has something to do with your past, right?" Yang asks sadly. "Yeah, anyway, now that we're here, what are your plans?" Naruto asks, changing the subject. "Well, my friends are here, so I'm going to do a little sightseeing, so bye." They leave so fast that it makes Rwby spin and lose balance, but before she can fall she feels something wrap around her waist and pulls her back up on her feet. When she opens her eyes, she notices it's Naruto's tail that caught her. "Thanks Naruto," she says. "No problem Rwby, based on the emblem on the luggage you almost fell on, I'm glad I caught you. I do not want to deal with one of them," Naruto says. "What is that supposed to mean, Franus?" says a pale girl who is 17 with long white hair pulled into an off-center bun tail and pale blue eyes, along with a crooked scar on her left eye. She is wearing a thigh-length strapless dress with a faint color gradation from white to blue. Over the dress is a bell-sleeved bolero with the same gradation as her dress from shoulder to wrist, and the inside of it is red with a snowflake on the back of the bolero, and white boots complete the look. Her accessories include an apple pendant and earrings. Her weapon appears to be a rapier. This is why Schnee. Sai, what I meant is I did not want to deal with a Schnee, Naruto says. Yeah, well, I didn't want to deal with a degenerate, yells Weiss. Don't call him a degenerate, me and this guy fought a criminal the other night and he took a bullet for me and gave me a place to stay since all of the modes of transportation back to my home were shut down, Rwby says defensively. Humphrey was probably expecting to get laid, Weiss says rudely. But before she can say more she is in his face with his tail around her throat and scaring her and Rwby. His eyes are now a shade of crimson and his tail and ears are a shade of orange. Listen here Schnee, I would kill myself before I ever do anything to a woman against their will, and if you ever mock my morals I won't hesitate to hit you, Naruto practically growls out. And like that he drops her and his eyes, ears and tail are back to their normal colors. Now Miss Schnee, I'm sorry about the outburst, I just don't like people thinking I would do something like that, Naruto says dejectedly. I agree, no one should ever judge someone by their appearance. They hear and look over and see a girl around 17. She has long black hair and amber eyes and black cat ears that are covered up by a black bow. She's wearing a black button vest with coattails over a white sleeveless high-necked crop shirt and white shorts with zippers on the front of both leg. Her look is finished off with black boots. This is Blake Belladonna. Thank you Ms., Naruto says requesting her name. Blake Belladonna, Blake says obliging. Thank you Ms. Belladonna, Naruto says. Damn, I never saw you that aggressive before, Naruto. They all look over and Rwby sees the guy Naruto said is named John. Hey John, it's nice to you after so long, Naruto says. Hey, it's not my fault you don't come to see me, John snaps jokingly. Heh, I guess you're right, come on, I want to introduce you to my friend. Both John and Rwby follow him. Path leading to dorms. I'm just saying motion sickness is a bigger problem than people take it for, John says defensively. I'm sorry, that's what my sister called you, so it's the first thing that came to mind. So what type of weapon do you have? Rwby asks. I use a sword and shield, you, John asks. I use this, she says as she unfurls her scythe. While examining her scythe he notices the scope and barrel. Is that scythe also a high-impact sniper rifle? You went to Signal, didn't you? John asks. Yeah, how did you know? Rwby asks. Well, I was at Signal 2 years ago for a short time when Naruto was mentoring me, and in that short time I remember people talk about there being 2 weapon nuts, and you went a little overboard designing it, don't you think? John says. Maybe a little, Rwby says sheepishly. So Naruto, your weapon, how's it coming? John asks. Well, it's been done for a year, but it took forever to make. He says as he takes out a small black object that looks like an old-style USB drive and he clicks a button, and for it being so small it unfurls out into a scythe, but then he clicks the button a couple more times and it shifts into a pistol, a high-impact sniper rifle, a dagger, and back to its compact form. They both see Ruby's eyes turn into stars. That is so cool, but what about ammo for the gun forms? Now Naruto's eyes are stars and John groans. That's the beauty of it, it uses my aura as bullets. They then notice John with the same face as Yang when they geeked out earlier. Sai, the one girl on the planet with a similar obsession over weapons, and you managed to find her. Anyway Naruto, do you know where we need to go? Asks John. John, that would be the amphitheater and that would be back the way we came. We are currently headed to the dorms, replies Naruto. Amphitheater? Hey Rwby, I saved you a spot. Yells Yang. Okay, you two will talk after the ceremony, says Rwby. Sure Ms. Rose, says Naruto. Sure thing Rwby, says John. So Rubes, how's your morning been so far? Asks Yang quizzically. You mean when you left me and Naruto? Well, when you left it almost knocked me down, but Naruto caught me, then he made a comment about not wanting to deal with the owner of the bags I almost fell on, Rwby says angrily. Something tells me you ended up dealing with him or her anyway, didn't you? Yang asks matter-of-factly. Yeah, but what was horrible was that she yelled at him just for being a faunus, Rwby says sadly. Then they all hear the microphone and see Professor Osborn. I'll keep this brief. You have traveled here today in search of knowledge, to hone your craft and acquire new skills, and when you have finished, and plan to dedicate your life to the protection of the people. But I look amongst you and all I see is wasted energy in need of purpose, direction. You assume knowledge will free you of this, but your time at this school will prove that knowledge can only carry you so far. It is up to you to take the first step. Glinda walks up to the mic. You will gather in the ballroom tonight. Tomorrow your initiation begins. Be ready, you are dismissed. He seemed kind of off, says Yang. It's like he wasn't even there, says Rwby. Next day. We find all our heroes to be currently in a cafeteria for breakfast before the initiation. Naruto, Rwby, Weiss, and a girl also 17, she has red hair and a waist-length ponytail, curled slightly into a loose ringlet and green eyes, she is wearing a brown over-bust corset, a black A-line miniskirt, brown upper-length gloves and brown high-heeled boots with bronze trim, this is Per and Iko's. They are all eating salads. Then we have Yang and John who are eating plates of bacon, eggs, and toast, then Blake is eating a fish sandwich, then there is a guy and a girl eating pancakes, they are both 17, the guy has neck-length black hair with a magenta streak on the left side of his hair, along with magenta eyes, he is wearing a dark green long-sleeved tailcoat that is red on the inside, with black and gold trimmings and pink cuffs over a black long-sleeved shirt, along with light tan pants with black shoes. This Lyren, and the girl has short orange hair and turquoise eyes, she is wearing a white sleeveless top under a black vest with a hammer and lightning bolt on the back, with a bit of armor on, along with a short pink skirt that ends mid-thigh pink and white shoes, this is Nora Valkyrie. You know you two seem awfully chipper this morning. Says Yang. Of course I'm happy this is the part where there are no making friends, but my baby doing all the talking. Both. Naruto and Rwby say at the same time. Odds you two are like clones of each other, personality-wise anyway. Remarks John as he walks by to go and get his weapons. He's got you two there, at least where weapons are concerned. But, when it comes to your personalities you two are very different. Says Yang. Well either way good luck with your possible teammates. Says Naruto. Hold on, what teammates? Rwby asks slightly distressed. Wait. Did nobody tell you that when you complete initiation and get accepted you get assigned a team that you'll be with for all 4 school years that you are here for? Naruto asked realizing that she truly didn't know based on the stunned and scared look she has and got angry with Osborne for forgetting to tell her that. Rwby look it's a requirement to be on a team, but anybody would be lucky to be on a team with you, considering your skills with your weapon are years ahead of most people here. I'm sorry if my attempt at helping isn't helping social things were never my thing. Says Naruto. No Naruto thanks for trying it helped more than you think. Rwby says. All first-year students report to Beacon Cliff again, all first-year students report to Beacon Cliff immediately. Comes from a speaker. Beacon Cliff. For years you have trained to become warriors. And today, your abilities will be evaluated in the Emerald Forest. Says Osborne. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard rumors about the assignment of teams. Well, allow us to put an end to your confusion. Each of you will be given Team Testo Day. Says Goodwitch. What, light groan, goes Rwby. These teammates will be with you for the rest of your time here at Beacon. So it is in your best interest to be with someone with whom you can work well. That being said, the first person you make eye contact with after landing will be your partner for the next 4 years. Says Osborne. What? Says Rwby in shock. See, I told you. Nora says to Ren. After you've partnered up make your way to the northern end of the forest. You will meet opposition along the way. Do not hesitate to destroy everything in your path or you will die. You will be monitored and graded for the duration of your initiation. But our instructors will not intervene. You will find an abandoned temple at the end of the path containing several relics. Each pair must choose one and return to the top of the cliff. We will regard that item, as well as your standing, and grade you appropriately. Are there any questions? Good. Now, take your positions. Says Osborne. People start being shot into the sky with the help of little launch pads, and after John is launched Osborne looks at them all in the sky and just takes a sip out of his coffee mug. Off in the distance Naruto swears he hears Rwby screams, "Birdie no," and he silently chuckles at that, now how exactly am I going to land? Naruto thinks until something hits him from behind and they are both knocked out of the sky. After they hit the ground he feels someone pick him up and brush him off. Oh friend I'm so sorry about hitting you like that when we're done with the initiation I will run around this forest 100 times. Says a guy he is 17 has shiny black hair curved out and upward, round eyes, prominent low eyelashes, and very pronounced eyebrows. He is wearing a green short-sleeved kimono shirt with a black martial arts belt and dark pants and black combat boots. His accessories include orange leg warmers and white combat tape wrapped around his hands and up to his elbows and stuffed in his belt look like a pair of nunchucks. Naruto also notices that the new guy looked to be 5 foot 8 inches in comparison to his own 5 foot 5 inches. It's alright. I guess we're partners now. So what's your name? Naruto asks his new energized partner. Oh I'm sorry my name is Rock Lee, but you may call me Lee. Hey you want to be friends? Back in Mistral I didn't have many friends just 2 names Sun and Neptune. Lee says. Well Lee my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I think it's better for us to be friends rather than enemies since we are going to be partners for the next 4 years after all. Naruto says in a friendly manner. Oh that's good to you Lee is interrupted by a voice. See I told you I could find others, anyway hello you two the name's Kiba in Yuzuka and this is my partner Shikamaru Nara. Says Kiba. Kiba is 17, he has wild brown hair, sharp black eyes with vertical slit-like pupils, pronounced canine teeth, brown wolf ears out the top his hair, and a brown wolf tail. He is wearing a black leather coat over mesh armor. Black leather pants and black steel-toe combat boots and red fang markings on his cheeks. His legs and arms are slightly furrier than a normal wolf faunus, and he has what seems to be a pair of gauntlets. He looked to be about 5 foot 7 inches. The other one Shikamaru, he is 17 and has narrow brown eyes, black hair tied in a spiky ponytail, wearing a gray short-sleeved jacket over a black short-sleeved shirt over a mesh shirt, a pair of brown pants and black sneakers, and he appears to have a rifle on his back. He looked to be about 5 foot 7 inches. Like my partner said, my name is Shikamaru Nara, says Shikamaru putting his hand out. Nice to meet you, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto says, shaking his hand. Hello, my name is Rock Lee. Lee says excitedly. Hey, do either of you know where the temple is? Asks Kiba. Well, the cliff is that way, Naruto says pointing with his tail, and the headmaster said the temple was north of the cliff. So since the cliff is to the south we have to go that way. Naruto says pointing in the other direction with his hand. How do you know that, Foxy? Kiba asks playfully. Well, Wolfie, when you spend most of your free time outside of the city in grim-infested areas, you tend to gain an innate sense of direction. Naruto responds playfully. With Rwby. We see Rwby land in a clearing and she starts running. Gotta find Yang. Gotta find Yang. Gotta find Yang. 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 She yells. This is bad, this is really bad. What if I can't find her? What if someone finds her first? Well, there is John, he's nice. He's funny. And Naruto mentored him for a couple years, he knows his way around a fight and a plan. There's also Blake. So mysterious, so calm. Plus she likes books. But I don't think I could hold a conversation with her. And finally there's Naruto, he definitely knows how to fight. And he's not stuck to one form of combat, which is a plus. He also knows what it's like to have an eye for weapons. Who else do I know in this school? She thinks as she runs into Weiss. Great, I think I'd rather fight every grim in existence than be on a team with you. Rwby practically hisses out. Wait, is this about what I said to that Franus yesterday? Asks Weiss. Of course it is, and that Franus has a name, it's Naruto, and he isn't a degenerate. Rwby hisses out that time. What are the differences between degenerate and a faunus? But Weiss shuts up when she and Rwby notices they are surrounded by a pack of beowulfs. Okay Weiss, you don't like me and I certainly don't like you at the moment, but this is not the time to be arguing, we are surrounded by grim in this forest after all. Ozpin and Glinda. Well, the last of the students now have partners. Says Goodwitch. Who are the pairs exactly? Asks Ozpin. Well, there is Rwby Rose and Weiss Schnee, then Blake Belladonna and Yang Xiaolong, then John Ark and Pura Nikos, then Lai Ren and Nora Valkyrie, then Kiba Inuzuka and Shikamaru Nara, and finally Naruto Uzumaki and Rock Lee. Says Goodwitch. But Naruto, Lee, Kiba, and Shikamaru. Are you sure the two of you heard something ahead of us? Asks Shikamaru. Sigh Shikamaru. Kiba and I are Franus known to have heightened hearing. Says Naruto. But that howling, back in Vacuo, I never heard anything like that. So Foxy, since you were in grim-infested areas, do you have any ideas what that might be? Says Kiba. I know what it is, and we are going to need a plan, or at least know each other's strengths first. Says Naruto. Why, what is it? Asks Lee. That is not only a Beowulf pack, but also there might be an alpha Beowulf among them. Naruto says. Well, I mostly fight hand to hand, but I also have my shotchucks, and my semblance doubles my strength in stages, but it also damages my body. Lee explains as he pulls out his shotchucks. This is a drag, but Naruto, you're most likely right about an alpha. Anyway, I stay back and fight from afar with my weapon, which is a regular assault rifle, but it also changes into a bow that uses my aura as the arrow, it uses a lesser version of my semblance. Speaking of my semblance, I can connect my shadow to other living things and control their movements, but it uses a lot of aura, especially for larger creatures. Shikamaru explains, showing his bow. I'm an up-close fighter, my gauntlets are a pair of custom-made claw gauntlets with inserted assault rifles that use dust for the bullets. My semblance is always active, it's the reason why I'm furrier than normal wolf faunus, and I can run on 2 legs or 4 legs without being uncomfortable or awkward. I have sharper claws, and I can move fast enough to spin like a drill, and my senses are beyond even normal faunus, but it can be used against me. Kiba explains, showing both functions. My weapon can change into multiple weapons so I can fight at any range, and all the gun forms use my aura as ammo. My semblance allows me to place marks on anything I touch and teleport to those marks or teleport a person or object to myself, but it does have a downside, the farther the set location is the more aura it uses, and it varies from object to object. Naruto explains, showing a small yellow swirl mark on his weapon. They see Shikamaru sitting there thinking. Okay, how about this, we travel in a straight line, with Kiba in the back with his better senses, I'll be in front of him, Naruto you'll be in front of me, and Lee you'll be in the front. Shikamaru offers for a movement plan. Sounds good to us. They say, and head off. Line break. These things just keep coming. Y says frustrated, but then notices that most of them have already been cut down by Rwby, who seems to be enjoying herself. Thankfully I can finally vent all my frustrations. Rwby thinks as she cuts down 3 more beelds. I'm supposed to be the better fighter here, how is she so strong? Weiss thinks as she cuts down 2 beelds. And that's the last of them. Rwby says as she cut down the last 3, but along the way cuts through several trees. As they walk away several feathers float down slowly. With Ozpin and Goodwitch. At their current pace, they should reach the temple within just a few minutes. Speaking of which, what did you use as relics this year? Professor Ozpin. Asks Goodwitch. With Naruto, Lee, Kiba, and Shikamaru. Guys, we have company. Kiba warns. Get ready and don't get separated. Naruto says. Just as Naruto says that, the ground starts to rumble and the ground explodes out. As they jump away they notice that there are 20 beelds along with the alpha, joined by a King Tajitu. Okay, this is bullshit. Yells Kiba as each of them got separated and surrounded by 5 beelds, except for Naruto who seemed to also be targeted by the alpha and the King Tajitu. Kiba. Okay, well this isn't ideal, I think I'm in a better position than Naruto and Shikamaru. Kiba said as he jumps over a beeld swipe and managing to literally blow its brains out by shooting it in the head with a fire dust round with enough force that it sends him back far enough that the claws on his gauntlets are released, and then jumps at another Beowulf, cutting its legs off and piercing its skull. He jumps back as a Beowulf lands at his previous position and he puts his hand up blowing a chunk of its torso apart. Okay, now I'm annoyed, my friends need help and you two are in my way. He says as he jumps into the air and physically starts spinning like a drill, tearing through the last 2 beelds with no resistance. Ha, now that's what I'm talking about. Kiba says as he lands. Lee. Naruto and Shikamaru will have a little trouble with this. Lee said as he pulls out his shotchucks and lands a point-blank shot in on a Beowulf and catches another one in the jaw with the other shotchuck and then shoots it. He jumps and spin kicks another Beowulf, knocking it back and flipping so that his shotchuck is planted at its face, blowing it apart. He looks to see that the last 2 seeing them rush at him and it seems like his body is starting to exude heat because the air around him seems to have the warping effect that heat has and he seems to vanish and then appearing as he bashes his leg through the head of the beelds and when he lands he winces due to the pain in his leg. Shikamaru. Sigh, this is such a drag. Shikamaru said as he is jumping around the clearing he is in and then he stops and brings out his rifle as all the beelds stop as he looks and sees that his shadow is connected to each of them and unloads 5 rounds into each of their heads. Sigh, sometimes you have to feel bad for creatures that can't tell that they are being led into such an obvious trap. He thinks as his shadow goes back to normal and he walks back to his group. Naruto. Okay, so they are after me for some reason. Naruto says as he takes down the 4th of the beelds. Can Grim also sense a person's locked emotions? He wonders to himself as he dodges the last of the normal beelds and turns his weapon into its pistol form and blowing its proverbial brains out. This just leaves the alpha and the Taijutsu. Naruto thinks as he looks at the Beowulf and King Tajitu. These 2 are older than those others, they've been sitting back and studying me, this is what I hate about the older Grim, they are actually intelligent. Naruto thinks as he starts walking around the outer edge of the clearing placing marks on different trees. He does this for a few more minutes until the white side of the King Tajitu lunges at him and he dodges to the right only to get shoulder checked by the Beowulf through a tree. But disappears in a yellow flash and appears on the other side of the clearing with his weapon in the form of what looks to be a really big sniper rifle, anti-material rifle, and blows one hell of a hole into the white head of the King Tajitu, killing that side. Transforming his weapon into the scythe form, he dodges the swipe from the Beowulf and pulls it up right through its arm, cutting it off. It howls, but is silenced when one of Lee's shotchucks lands on its head, sequentially goes off blowing its head apart. He looks up and sees the King Tajitu's other head torn to shreds by Kiba. Thanks you 3. Naruto says thanking Lee, Kiba, and Shikamaru. As they all start walking toward the temple. Forest Temple. We find Yang and Blake at the temple looking at the sky, considering that Rwby is currently falling. Yang jumps and manages to catch her. Hey sis, why were you in the sky? Yang asks curiously. Weiss and I may have pissed off a Nevermore. Rwby says sheepishly. They then look over to see trees falling over and an Ursa coming towards them, but then it falls over and they see Nora sitting on its neck and Ren trying to catch up. Oh, it's broken. Nora says as she starts poking the corpse before it dissolves. Nora. Please don't ever do that again. Ren says but then notices that she's at the relics now. I'm queen of the castle. I'm queen of the castle. Nora sings. Nora. Yells Ren. Coming Ren. Nora says. Did that girl just ride in on an Ursa? Asks Blake. They look over to more noise and see John and Purr running away from a death stalker. John, why did you insist on going into that cave? Purr yells. Purr, I'm just as human as you are and we all make mistakes. John yells back. Did the two of them just run all the way here with a death stalker on their tail? Blake asks. I can't take it anymore. Could everyone just chill out for 2 seconds before something crazy happens again? Yang says, his hair flare up like fire and her eyes turn crimson. Yang. Rwby says, and they all look up and see Weiss dangling from the talons of a Nevermore. How could you leave me? Weiss yells. I said jump. Rwby says, as if it was the easiest thing in the world. She's gonna fall. Blake says. She'll be fine. Rwby says. She's falling. Says Ren. They see John throws his hand out and then they see his aura form some kind of cloak around his arm and then extend all the way to Weiss in the shape of a hand grabbing her and dropping her slowly to the ground. John, what was that? They all ask, but mainly Weiss. Well, Weiss, that's something I based off of Naruto. Whenever he gets angry to a point, his aura manifests this weird looking cloak around him, so if you want to thank anyone, Weiss, it should be Naruto. And no, I can't teach any of you how to do it, it uses way too much aura, I myself can only do it once a day, and that's with it perfected. And to answer all of your unasked question, that is not my semblance. John says. Great, the gang's all here, now we can die together. Yang says. Not if I can help it. Rwby says as she runs to the Death Stalker. Rwby, wait. Yang yells. Rwby pulls out her scythe and points it behind her, shooting give her more momentum, but she gingerly gets knocked back by the Death Stalker. She gets up and runs back towards the group, but her cape gets pinned by one of the Nevermore's feathers. And Weiss shoots to try to save her and freezes the Death Stalker's tail in place. You're so childish. Weiss says. Weiss. Rwby says. And dim-witted and hyperactive. And don't even get me started on your fighting style. And I suppose I can be a bit difficult. But if we're going, but she is cut off as they both hear the ice cracking. They look at the tail and see that the pincers are breaking through the ice. Before they can move, the pincers and tail break the ice and are headed right to them, but then their vision turns yellow and they are both being held by Naruto. Naruto, Lee, Kiba, and Shikamaru. Naruto can see Rwby and Weiss up ahead and Ruby's cape is pinned to the ground by a Nevermore Omega's feather and Weiss froze the Death Stalker's tail in place, but Weiss also lets her guard down to talk to Rwby. But he sees that the Death Stalker uses his pincers to break the ice and continue its attack on the two, but Naruto uses his semblance to teleport the two of them out of harm's way. Hey, you two, alright, that was close, wasn't it? Asks Naruto. They look and see that he is looking to see if either of them was hurt, and just seeing the concern he is showing over them. They both blush, but only Weiss actually notices. Why am I blushing, and why is he showing so much concern over me, especially after what I said yesterday? Weiss thinks, trying to figure Naruto out. And then they see yellow again, and when their vision clears they are with the rest of the group. With the rest. They all see a yellow flash of light like what happened when Weiss and Rwby disappeared, and they see foremost Weiss and Rwby, but also Naruto and 3 guys that they haven't met. Oh, you're okay. Yang says as she brings Rwby into a near bone-crushing hug. Hey Naruto, who are these guys? Yang asks. This is Rock Lee, my partner, and those two are Kiba and Yazuka, and Shikamaru Nara. Naruto says. Naruto, what was that? How did you get us away from the Death Stalker? Weiss asks. That Weiss was my semblance teleportation. Naruto says. They then hear 2 sets of shrieking. Not to ruin the moment, but we still have Birdie and Scorpion to deal with. John says. Right, we need to move. Rwby says as Naruto, John, Shikamaru, and her go and grabs a relic. They all head to a ruined castle. They are all hiding behind pillars and the Nevermore lands on top of the castle and screeches, and then the Death Stalker rips through some trees. Nora, distract the Nevermore, says Ren. Nora does so, dodging feathers and pulling out a grenade launcher and launching a couple of grenades at the bird, but almost get attacked by the Death Stalker. If not for Ren and Blake attacking its pincers, then Weiss pulls her away with the help of a glyph. As a lot of them are one side of the bridge to the castle when the Nevermore flies through it. We have Rwby, Weiss, Yang, Nora, John, Naruto, and Shikamaru fighting the Nevermore, and then Purr, Ren, Blake, Kiba, and Lee are fighting the Death Stalker. Hey Ms. Valkyrie, can you get yourself and John over there to help them? We're fine here. Naruto asks Nora. Sure. She says as she turns her grenade launcher into a really big hammer and breaks the bridge further to launch John to the other fight, and then pulls trigger, shooting herself over there. She hits the Death Stalker, but bounces off and hits Blake, knocking her off, but she uses her weapon like a grapple and swinging onto the castle. John, Purr, Ren, Nora, Kiba, and Lee. Kiba using his drill attack cuts off one of the Death Stalker's pincers. Lee and Ren are keeping the other pincer busy. Purr, use your shield to cut off the stinger. orders John, and she listens, throwing her shield where the stinger connects to the tail, making the stinger pierce its body. Nora, nail it. He says. Got it. She says as she jumps on Purra's shield, sits on her hammer, pulls the trigger and launches herself into the air and giggles, and then bashes the stinger into the body, killing the Death Stalker. Rwby, Weiss, Blake, Yang, Naruto, and Shikamaru. They are all shooting at the Nevermore. Yang jumps into its mouth, shooting it. I hope you're hungry, she yells. Making it crash into the cliff and perch for a minute, which was just perfect. Shikamaru now. Naruto yells. Shikamaru grabs his bow and draws an aura arrow and shoots it in the chest, and the Nevermore completely stops moving. They then use Blake's weapon to make a giant slingshot. Rwby jumps on the ribbon, stretching it, and Weiss makes a glyph to hold her. Of course you would come up with this idea. Weiss says. Think you can make the shot? Rwby asks. HMPH. Can I? Weiss responds. And Rwby tries to say. Of course I can. Weiss yells. They both then hear Naruto. Good luck you two. He says. Neither Weiss nor Rwby notices their blushes this time. And boom, she is a human bullet. She uses her scythe to catch the throat of the Nevermore, and using Weiss's glyphs runs up the side of the cliff and then cut its head off. Wow, now I see why you took a shine to her, Naruto. John mumbles to himself. Beacon Auditorium. Russell Thrush, Carton Winchester, Dove Bronzewing, and Skylark. The four of you retrieved the Black Bishop pieces. From this day forward, you will work together as Team CRDL Cardinal. Lead by Carton Winchester. John Ark, Lai Ren, Purra Nikos, and Nora Valkyrie. The four of you retrieved the White Rook pieces. From this day forward you will work together as Team JNPR Juniper. Lead by John Ark. Blake Belladonna, Ruby Rose, Weiss Schnee, and Yang Xiaolong. The four of you retrieved the White Knight pieces. From this day forward you will work together as Team RWBY Rwby. Lead by Ruby Rose. Finally, Naruto Uzumaki, Kiba Inuzuka, Rock Lee, and Shikamaru Nara. The four of you retrieved the Black Knight pieces. From this day forward you will work together as Team NKLS Nichols. Lead by Naruto Uzumaki. Looks like things are shaping up to be an interesting year. Osmond says, setting up the teams. NKLS, dorm room. Shikamaru, get your lazy ass up. Naruto and Lee have already left for breakfast. Kiba yells, who's already dressed. Sigh, this is such a drag, why are we up so early? Shikamaru asks groggily as he sits up, and we see that he is wearing a gray shirt and gray slacks. Shikamaru, it is 7 in the morning, classes start at 9. Kiba yells. Sigh, fine, give me a couple of minutes. Shikamaru says. Cafeteria. 7:15 a.m. We find Naruto like the day before, eating a salad, while Lee, Kiba, and Shikamaru are eating eggs, bacon, and toast. They are all wearing the school uniform, which is a black suit lined with gold with a blue vest and a white shirt under, finishing out with a red tie and black dress shoes. But students are allowed to modify their uniform, like Lee, who's still wearing his leg warmers, while Kiba just decided to not wear the vest and tie, as well as keep his suit unbuttoned. So finally decided to join us. Naruto says playfully. Oh, shove it, Foxy, you have the partner who is a morning person. Kiba says, slightly irritated. Which is funny since I have the worst luck in the world. Naruto says. Sigh, why would you say something like that? Let's look at this logically. You managed to get into the best academy for training hunters and huntresses, and you have 11 troublesome friends, i.e., friends that care about you. Shikamaru says, smiling. Yeah, well, sometimes things aren't as they seem to be. Naruto says bitterly. Getting the impression that Naruto doesn't want to talk about this, Lee changes the subject. So Naruto, what is the first order of business for the day? Lee asks. Time skip 8:40 a.m. Hey, have you noticed the teams RWBY and JNPR aren't here? Lee asks. Then they notice Naruto is heading back to the dorms with 8 to-go boxes. Yo man, where you going? Asks Kiba. I'm going to get both Team JNPR and RWBY, and I grab some breakfast for all of them. Naruto says. RWBY, dorm room. 8 a.m. We find Weiss, who is currently wearing a faded blue nightgown with short sleeves and white trim and display the Schnee crest on the upper right chest, with her hair down, is starting to wake up. But Rwby blows a whistle, scaring her out of her bed. Good morning, Team RWBY. Rwby yells excitedly. What in the world is wrong with you? Weiss asks. Now that you're awake, we can officially begin our first order of business. Rwby says in her uniform. Excuse me? Weiss says. Decorating. Yang says in her uniform. What? Weiss says. We still have to unpack. And clean. Blake says in her uniform as stuff falls out of her suitcase. Alright. Weiss, Blake, Yang, and their fearless leader Rwby have begun their first mission. Banzai. Rwby yells. Banzai. Blake and Yang repeat as the three of them lean awkwardly, while Weiss just sighs as gets dressed and put her hair in a side ponytail. Couple minutes later. They are all now wearing the female school uniform, which is a brown jacket with a tan vest over a white shirt with a red ribbon tie around the collar and a red plaid skirt with stockings of varying lengths, aside from Rwby, who also has her red cloak on. We see Yang putting up a poster of 4 or 6 guys. Cutting over to Weiss, she is putting up an elegant picture of a scarlet-colored forest. Blake is putting up book. She then grabs a book called Ninjas of Love. She seems to shrink in embarrassment before hiding it. Finally, Rwby uses the end of her scythe to put up blinds, but as she moves she accidentally cuts the blinds through the middle. 8:40 a.m. They look and see that their room is decorated, but the beds are somehow piled up against the window. This isn't going to work. Weiss says. It is a bit cramped. Blake says. Maybe we should ditch some of our stuff, says Yang. Or we could just ditch the beds. And replace them with bunk beds, Rwby says excitedly. That sounds incredibly dangerous, Weiss says. And super awesome, Yang yells. It does seem efficient, Blake says. Well, we should put it to a vote, Weiss says. I think we just did, Rwby says. 8:50 a.m. Objective, complete. Rwby says as the camera pans to the beds and you see that the beds on the right side of the room are stacked on top of each other using books and the other set of beds, well, the other bed is just hanging from the ceiling. But before anything else is said they hear knocking on their door. Rwby opens the door and they see Naruto standing there with 4 to-go boxes along with Team JNPR who are in their uniforms standing behind him eating out of their own to-go boxes. Hey Naruto, what are you doing here? Rwby asks cheerily. Just came to make sure no one is late on their first day since classes start in 8 minutes. Also, I brought you all breakfast, sorry, but salads were all they had left, Naruto says as he hands each of them a box. Oh thanks Naruto, that was thoughtful of you, Rwby says. You know what they say, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Now we all might want to start moving since class starts in 5 minutes, he says as they all start to run to their classes. Several hours later. We now see a man in front of a class that looks like an average college classroom. He appears to be in early old age. He has gray hair and a mustache and is slightly overweight. He is wearing a double-breasted burgundy suit with gold piping and buttons. His pants he wears into his boots. This is Professor Peter Port. Monsters. Demons, prowlers of the night. Yes, the creatures of Grimm have many names. But, I merely refer to them as prey. Silence, and you shall too, upon graduating from this prestigious academy. Now, as I was saying, Vale, as well as the other 3 kingdoms, are safe havens in an otherwise treacherous world. Our planet is teeming with creatures that would love nothing more than to tear you to pieces. And that's where we come in. Huntsmen, huntresses, individuals who have sworn to protect those who cannot protect themselves. From what you ask? Why, the very world. That is what you are training to become. But first, a story. A tale of a young, handsome man. Me. When I was but a boy. Port says as he fades into the background. Naruto notices Weiss is getting slightly frustrated by Rwby not paying attention. This could end badly. Naruto thinks. Despite smelling of cabbages, my grandfather was a wise man. Peter, he told me. Port says as he fades again. Naruto sees Weiss getting more frustrated. In the end, the Beowulf was no match for my sheer tenacity. And I returned to my village with the beast in captivity and my head held high. Celebrated as a hero. The moral of the story. A true huntsman must be honorable. A true huntsman must be dependable. A true huntsman must be strategic, well-educated and wise. Port says as with every point it cuts to Rwby doing something stupid and Weiss getting more and more frustrated. So who among you believes themselves to be the embodiment of these traits? Port asks as Weiss throws her hand up. I do, sir. Weiss says. Well then, let's find out. Come forward and face your opponent. Port says as he looks at a cage. Couple minutes later. We now see Weiss in her combat clothes. Go Weiss. Yells Yang. Fight well. Says Blake while holding a flag with their team name on it. It's only been 1 day, why and how did she get a flag with her team's name on it? Naruto thinks. Yeah, represent Team Rwby. Rwby yells. Rwby, I'm trying to focus. Weiss says. Oh, sorry. Rwby says. Alright. Let the match begin. Port says as he uses a combo battle axe and blunderbuss to cut open the lock of the cage, revealing a Borbodisk, and it instantly charges at Weiss. She dodges to the side, it hitting across the side at no avail. It stops on the other side of the classroom. Haha, wasn't expecting that, were you? Port says. Hang in there Weiss. Rwby yells. Weiss practically shoots forward, but the Borbodisk manages to catch Weiss's weapon in its tusks. Bold, new approach. I like it. Port yells. Come on Weiss, show it who's boss. Rwby yells and Weiss looks at her, giving the Grimm a chance to pull the weapon out of her hand and throwing behind it. Oh ho, now what would you do without your weapon? Port asks as Weiss looks up and sees the Borbidus charging at her, and she dodges to the side, and the Boar Grim runs into the desks and flips onto its back. Weiss runs for her weapon. Weiss, go for its belly. There's no armor underneath, Rwby goes to say, but is interrupted by Weiss. Stop telling me what to do. She yells, making Rwby quiet down and frown in sadness. The Boar Grim jumps and starts spinning like a tire, and it shoots towards Weiss, and she makes a glyph that the Grim bounces off of. She then hops on a glyph, shooting herself to its exposed underbelly, piercing and killing it. Bravo. Bravo. It appears we are indeed in the presence of a true huntress in training. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to cover the assigned readings and stay vigilant. Class dismissed. Port says. Seems Weiss is jealous or angry. Rwby was made the leader. John says just loud enough that Naruto managed to hear him. Calls. Weiss. Rwby yells. What? Weiss yells back. What's wrong with you? Why are you being? Rwby is interrupted again by Weiss. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? You're supposed to be a leader and all you've been so far is a nuisance. Weiss says. What did I do? Rwby asks. That's just it, you've done nothing to earn your position. Back in the forest you acted like a child and you've only continued to do so. Weiss says. Weiss, where is this coming from? What happened to all that talk about working together? I thought you believed in acting as a team. Rwby says. Not a team led by you. I've studied and trained and quite frankly I deserve better. Ozpin made a mistake. Weiss says, then walks away. As Rwby she gets surprised to see Ozpin standing there. Now that didn't seem to go very well. He simply says. Is she right? Did you make a mistake? She asks. That remains to be seen. He responds. Weiss. Professor Port. Weiss says. Ah, Miss Schnee, and to what do I owe this fine pleasure? Port asks. I enjoyed your lecture. Weiss says. Of course you did, child. You have the blood of a true huntress in you. Port says. You really think so? Weiss asks. Most surely. Something is troubling you. Port says. Yes sir. Weiss says. Dear girl, confess to me your strife. Port says. Well, I think I should have been the leader of Team Rwby. Weiss says. That's preposterous. Port says jovially. Rwby. What do you mean? Rwby asks. I mean it's only been one day. Rwby, I've made more mistakes than any man, woman, and child on this planet. But at this moment I would not consider your appointment to leader to be one of them. Do you? Ozpin asks. Weiss. Excuse me? Weiss says indignantly. I've believed in Professor Ozpin for many years and the man's never once led me astray. Port says. So you would just blindly accept his decision even after seeing how exceptional I am? Weiss asks, irritated. No, no matter how much you trust someone you never put blind faith in them. They hear and see Naruto. Naruto, what are you doing here? Weiss asks, slightly irritated. I wanted to talk to you, of course. He says. Well, Miss Schnee, we can continue this talk later. Port says and walks away. What do you want? Weiss snaps. Naruto walks over and leans onto the rails. Simply put, you need a major attitude adjustment. Welcome to the world where you have to earn your accomplishments. You need to figure out quickly that this world is cruel, more than you might think. Naruto says. What would you know? She snaps again, but notices that his ears and tail have turned that shade of orange. A hell of a lot more than you. Weiss, you're a smart girl. I bet with how nice I act you can tell I keep myself closed off. Would you like know why I keep myself closed off? Naruto asks seriously. It always seemed that something was off. I don't mind. Weiss says, calming down. Well, let's get to it then. When I was 5 I was abandoned because my family thought of me as a freak and a disappointment. So they got rid of me. I was in Vale for a month before someone finally helped me. You want to know who that was? Naruto asks. Yeah. Weiss says, generally curious. That man was Ozpin. He found me on the brink of death because of some kids that saw Phronis as freaks and they attacked me. I must have laid there for an hour before finally falling unconscious. Worst part is I was ready for death. Naruto says, startling Weiss. I mean, why wouldn't I? I had nothing in this world. I was just a freak that should have died the day he was born instead of having the hope that he could be anything in this world. But you know what, I woke up here in the infirmary and I learned it was the very headmaster that saved me in more ways than one over the years since he also took me in and raised me. Over the time I learned that Ozpin does things that sometimes make no sense at first, but he generally has the right idea. Plus it has only been one day. You haven't seen what Rwby is truly capable of. Give it time and I'm sure Rwby will prove herself capable. In the meantime, how about you try being the best person and teammate you can be so you and your team can grow? Naruto says. Naruto, why are you being so kind to me, especially after what I said about you when we met? Weiss asks, truly curious and sad. I guess Ozpin rubbed off on me a bit. I like to help people whose paths aren't clear to them, and you Miss Schnee have the potential to be a very kind person I can tell. So before you go writing someone off you might want to get to know them. Naruto says. Naruto, why would you tell me all of this? Weiss asks, noticing that his ears and tail are back to their normal color. Naruto starts walking away. I don't know. I just feel like I can trust you and I want you to have faith in others. Naruto says. Rwby. Being a team leader isn't just a title you carry into battle, but a badge you wear constantly. If you are not always performing at your absolute best, then what reason do you give others to follow you? You've been burdened with a daunting responsibility, Rwby. I advise you take some time to think about how you will uphold it. Osmond says as he walks away. Then Rwby turns around to see Naruto walking away from Weiss, who she can tell is thinking deeply. Rwby, dorm room. Weiss walks in to see everyone sleeping. She wakes up Rwby to talk with her. Weiss. I was studying and then I fell asleep, I'm sorry. Rwby says. How do you take your coffee? Weiss asks. I don't. Rwby says, slightly confused. Just answer the question. Weiss says. Cream and 5 sugars. Rwby blurts. Don't move. Weiss says. Couple minutes. Here. Weiss says, handing Rwby a mug of coffee. Thanks Weiss. Rwby says. Rwby, I think you have what it takes to be a good leader. Just know that I am going to be the best teammate you'll ever have. Good luck studying. That's wrong by the way. Hey Rwby? Weiss asks. Rwby says. I always wanted bunk beds as a kid. Weiss says. NKLS, dorm room. Hey Naruto, could you or will any of you help me with this homework? Lee asks. Lee, it's the first day, how could you already be having problems? Kiba asks. Well, it's just that history and the specifics of dust aren't exactly my areas of expertise. Lee says dejectedly. Lee, don't listen to Kiba, you just woke him up from his little puppy nap, so he's a little cranky. Naruto says. Screw you Foxy, I'm going back to sleep. Kiba says. Anyway, Kiba aside, I heard there is an upperclassman who has never failed when someone asks her for help with studying. Now Lee, we should go to bed as well, it's late, and don't worry, you just need to figure out how to get your brain going in your way. Naruto says. We find Kiba in an arena fighting a big guy who has burnt orange hair and indigo eyes. He's wearing gray armor with gold trim. It also has a bird with outstretched wings on it. Under it he is wearing a black shirt with red trim, along with black pants and a red belt and black boots. He wields a big black mace. This is Cardin Winchester. We find Kiba being pushed back since he's holding back since his stronger attacks would kill Cardin. So Wolf, how's it feel to be beaten by your better? Cardin says with a sneer. As if I could name 11 people who I would call better than me, and not a single one of them is you or your team. Kiba says as he dodges to the side and hits the back of Cardin's leg, making him fall, and then knees the back of Cardin's head, knocking him out. Sorry if I went a little too far, Professor Goodwitch. Kiba says. No worries, Mr. Inyazuka, and while I wouldn't normally say this, Mr. Winchester was asking for it. Now we have time for one more spar, so any volunteers? Goodwitch asks, and both Naruto and John raise their hands. Right, you two then get dressed in your combat gear. Goodwitch says. Couple minutes later. So Naruto, I guess it's about time we had a spar to see how far we've each come. John says. Right, it has been a few years, good luck and don't hold back. Naruto says. Thanks, and don't worry, I won't. I still remember the last spar we had and I held back, that arm took a couple months to heal. John says. Yeah, sorry about that by the way. Naruto says. Don't worry about it, it's thanks to you I am the way I am today. John says, smiling. Arena. Let the spar begin. Goodwitch says. Naruto clicks his weapon and it turns into a sword, and John takes out his sword. They lunge to each other and they meet in the center, blades clashing, then they jump back from each other, then shoot towards each other. But at the last second Naruto moves to the side and shoots his leg up to John's side, pushing him off balance, and then lands a kick on his back, knocking him close to the arena's edge. John jumps back at Naruto, jumping to the side, surprising Naruto with his speed, jumps toward him and slashes at his back, but Naruto instantly brings his weapon to his back and blocks the sword. Naruto then uses his tail to sweep John off of his feet. John tries to get up but finds a sword at his throat and Naruto smirking. John, you were holding back, but how did you move so fast? Naruto asks as he pulls him back up. Thanks, I'll tell you later. John says. Splendid, you two, that was a good spar, and remember the Vital Festival is only a few months away. Class dismissed. Goodwitch says. Cafeteria. We find them all sitting and eating lunch. There's Rwby eating cookies, beside her on her right is Naruto who is eating a big bowl of ramen, then on his right sits Weiss who is eating an apple. Sitting right beside her is Yang who is eating a salad, on her right is Kiba who she is having a lively conversation with, he is eating a large beef sandwich, and on his right is Blake who isn't eating anything, but she's reading a book. Across the table we have John who's eating chicken, on his left is Puri who's eating a salad, and to her left is Shikamaru who's eating a plate of grilled mackerel. Sitting beside him is Lee who is eating a bowl of spicy curry, to his left is Nora who's eating a ham sandwich, and to her left is Ren who's not eating anything, but is talking about Nora having a recurring dream for a month now. So as I was saying, since none of us are doing anything this weekend, Kiba and I were thinking about all of us going out to the club. Yang says excitedly. Sai, that's a nice idea, Yang, but have you forgotten that the leaders of our teams aren't exactly social butterflies? Asks Shikamaru. Well Shika, that's why they need to go. We are the only friends that they have. Says Kiba. They see a girl who is 5'6" walk up to Lee. She has brown hair, brown eyes, and brown bunny ears. She is wearing the school uniform at the moment. This is Velvet Scarlatina. So Lee, are we still on for tutoring today? Velvet asks. Ah yes, of course Velvet, and I'd like to thank you for all you've done to help me. Lee says. Hey Velvet, would you and your team like to go to the club with us this weekend? Yang asks. I don't mind, and I know that Coco won't mind, so I'll ask Fox and Yatsu. Velvet says as she walks off. Now John, care to explain what that was you did in the fight? Naruto asks. That was my semblance aura manipulation. John says simply. Unknown location, midnight. We find Naruto waking up in a dark clearing. He's wearing an orange shirt and slacks, he's looking around, and he has a sense of deja vu. Where am I and why does it feel so familiar? Naruto asks as a bunch of shadow figures walk toward him. He goes to grab his weapon, but notices that his weapon along with anything to defend himself is gone. So you think that you making some friends and getting into Beacon proves you're anything but what you've always been, you're nothing but a freak, a monster, a demon, and a failure. The shadows all say at once. Shut up. Naruto yells while his eyes have turned crimson and his tails and ears are all orange, and yes tails, he now has 8 more tails. Look at yourself now, failure, showing your true colors now, monster. Say the shadows. Shut up. He yells again, this time through gritted teeth and holding his head. Why, so you can continue to live this false life of someone people actually care about? They say mockingly. No, I have a life and friends. He yells as he falls to his knees and starts crying. Yeah, right now, but what about when they find out what you are after all? You never were a fox after all, just a demon. They say. Naruto collapses and the last thing he hears before he blacks out is a monstrous roar, and all he feels is rage, hatred, and a searing pain. NKLS, dorm room. We find Naruto shoot up out of his bed in a cold sweat. And Naruto, are you alright? Naruto hears and he looks over and sees Lee, Kiba, and Shikamaru. He looks out and sees it's around 6:30. He looks down and sees that his left arm up to his elbow is red as if sunburned. What happened? Naruto asked, breathing hard. Foxy, we woke up to you screaming and we saw the skin on your left arm started peeling off. We should, but Kiba is interrupted. Drop it. Naruto says seriously as he gets his school uniform on. But Lee tries to say but is interrupted when he notices Naruto's eyes are crimson and his tail is orange. Just drop it. Naruto yells as he opens the door. He sees both teams Rwby and JNPR are standing outside the door, surprised as he just walks past them. What happened? Rwby asked. Sai, we don't know. I'm guessing all of you woke up to his screaming. We got freaked out when the skin on his left arm started to peel off. Shikamaru says. Why didn't you stop him and get him to go to the infirmary? Weiss yelled. You think we didn't try? He told us to drop it and then he walked out, and if you couldn't tell, he was in a very bad mood. Kiba says. Ozpin's office. Ozpin, we have a problem. Naruto says, showing his left arm. I thought you were done with that nightmare. Ozpin says, surprised. This was the first time in 5 years. Why does it always come back when good things are happening in my life? Naruto asks sadly. Naruto, why are you saying it like it's your fault? It's not your fault and you can't help those scars aside from letting people into your heart. Ozpin says as he starts bandaging Naruto's arm. But I don't want to get hurt again. Naruto says sadly. Naruto, getting hurt is part of life. If you do things trying not to get hurt physically or emotionally, you are not truly living, and if you never let anyone in, you can never truly heal. Ozpin says wisely. You're right, you've always been right in these situations. Naruto sighs out. And done, now remember what I always said after that nightmare. Ozpin says as he finishes bandaging his arm. Yeah, I remember, never let those emotions control me. Naruto says happier. But now get to the cafeteria, you need breakfast. Ozpin says playfully. I guess you're right, Dad. Naruto says, surprising Ozpin, who smiles as he nods. Cafeteria. 7:30. We see teams JNPR, RWBY, KLS, and CFVY sitting at their normal table. They all see Naruto walk into the cafeteria and grab a salad like he normally does. He places it down in his normal spot in between Rwby and Weiss. Lee, Kiba, Shikamaru, and the rest of you that were worried about me, sorry for how I acted earlier. Naruto says sadly. Naruto, what happened this morning? Weiss asks. Naruto, what happened to your arm? Rwby asks worried. Well, the only thing I can really say is I woke up from a very realistic nightmare. Naruto says. That must have been one hell of a nightmare to have done that to your arm. Says a big 7-foot-tall guy who is wearing the school uniform. He has shaved short black hair and brown eyes. This is Yatsuhashi. Hey Kiba. Naruto says. Yeah Naruto? Kiba asks. I think I'll go with you guys this weekend, Osban said. I needed to relax. Naruto says sheepishly. Well, alright, we're all going then. Says a girl who is 6 feet tall with short dark brown wavy hair and dark brown eyes. She is wearing the school uniform, along with a dark brown beret and black wire-rimmed aviator glasses. This is Coco Adele. She is the leader of Team CFVY. Don't tell me you expect all of us to dress up. Says a guy who is 6'2". He has dark skin, dark copper hair, and he appears to be blind. He is also wearing the school uniform. This is Fox Alistair, the last member of Team CFVY. No, we're all going to go in our common clothes, we're just going to relax. Says Yang. That's still going to be funny considering Naruto is still going to look the most formal. Lee points out. Haha, Lee's got you there Naruto. John says laughing. Weekend. We find Coco. She is wearing a long cocoa-colored shirt with a dark brown waist cincher. She wears long dark brown trousers with ribbons on the left side and a brown belt with cartridges. Above it, she wears another cocoa-colored belt of cartridges with a gold crosshairs buckle. What appears to be a drape of black skirt hangs on her right side. She wears a pair of dark brown high-heeled leather boots with buckles. Her accessories now include a pair of black gloves and she is holding a suitcase. She is rolling on the ground in laughter. Ha 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 ha, Lee was right, you are the most formal here. She yells in hysterics. It's not that funny, plus Miss Schnee is dressed just as nicely and these are my common clothes, which is what we all agreed to wear. Naruto says, not noticing Weiss blush. Could we just go on in now? Asks Velvet, who is now wearing a short long-sleeved brown jacket with a golden zipper, brown shorts with golden detail and black leggings. She wears a black translucent undershirt beneath the jacket, along with golden spolders and vambraces, as well as similar belt, and her heel and toes are also protected. They all agree and go into the club. The Grim Parlor. It has been a couple hours and everyone except Naruto, Rwby, Weiss and Shikamaru are dancing. We have Yang and Kiba, Lee and Velvet, John and Purrit, Ren and Nora, Coco and Fox, who is now wearing a sleeveless muted orange zipper vest with black lining and black jeans and brown laced shoes, are all paired and dancing. Blake and Yatsuhashi, who is wearing a pale green long short-sleeved robe over one shoulder which is over a black muscle shirt, brown pants and black and green boots along with a 5-layer sword, are sitting at the bar reading a book and drinking water. Hey Naruto. Weiss says. Yes, Ms. Schnee. Naruto responds. I wanted to apologize for the things I said when we met. Weiss says. That's alright, you don't have to. Naruto says. Yes, I do. The things I said to you were uncalled for, and then after that I was still acting like a bitch, and even after all of that you still helped me anytime you could. Weiss says. If it makes you feel better, I accept your apology. I should apologize for what I said just based on your family. Also, never think so lowly of yourself. Naruto says as he flicks her on her forehead. It's alright, but can you stop calling me Ms. Schnee? Weiss says. Sorry, but for the moment not going to happen. Naruto says with a playful smile. They hear the music stop and see all the others come back, noticing Naruto is missing, but they hear Rwby and Weiss saying how they can't believe Shikamaru talked Naruto into doing this. They then notice Naruto on the stage. NKLS, dorm room. Naruto, Kiba and Shikamaru wake up to Lee talking to somebody on his scroll. So you missed a boat that your team took, so you stowed away on a ship that was also headed to Vale. Sigh, I'll try to be there to make sure nothing bad happens. Lee says to whomever he is talking to on the scroll. Who were you talking to, Lee? Asked Naruto. It was one of my friends when I was in Vacuo. Both my friends went to Haven while I chose to go here. Him and his team are coming for the Vital Festival, but he missed a boat, so he kind of stowed away on another ship heading here. Lee says. So what are you gonna do about this? Asks Kiba. Funny enough, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Lee says sheepishly. So he's actually done this before? Naruto asks. Well, you know, I'm an orphan. I was able to become a hunter in training because of a retired hunter. He also helped me get my friend out of trouble one time when he had stolen food because his family was out of money. My teacher bought the entire stand's food for him and his family and got him into the school with me and jobs for the kids' parents. Says Lee. Well then let's go and make sure that he doesn't get arrested for his stupidity. Says Kiba. RWBY, dorm room. Knock, knock, knock. Rwby goes and opens the door. Oh, Naruto, is something going on? Rwby asks. Kind of. One of Lee's old friends and his team are coming for the festival, but his friend missed the ship that brings them here, so he stowed away on a cargo ship that is also headed to Vale. So I was wondering, would your team like to go into town with us after classes are over? Naruto asks. I don't mind. Says Rwby. I was wanting to go into town and see the festival later anyway. Says Weiss. There's nothing better to do later today anyway. Says Blake. If all of you are going, then I'm coming too. Yang says. Great, let's go. Naruto says. Bullhead. So Lee, what's your friend like? Yang asks. Well, for one, he's a faunus, but he's a good person, especially with his friends. Though he has little respect for the law. You might as well call him the king of self-confidence. He's also very laid back and he hates formal attire, but he's also willing to help anyone even if you asked him or not. Lee says. Sounds like a decent guy to me. Says Shikamaru. So what is most of your plans once we get back to school after we go and get Lee's friend? Asks Blake. Naruto and I were going to spar later today. Says Rwby. Oh, that's something I'd like to watch. Says Yang and Kiba. City of Vale. They're all walking along the docks and see a store with a lot of caution tape on it. They walk up to look. What happened? Rwby asks. Robbery. Second dust shop to be hit this week. This place is turning into a jungle. Says Detective 1. They left all the money again. Says Detective 2. Dust doesn't make a lick of sense. Who needs that much dust? Asks Detective 1. I dunno, you know what I mean. Says Detective 2. You thinking the White Fang? Asks Detective 1. Yeah, I'm thinking we don't get paid enough. Says Detective 2. HMPH. The White Fang. What an awful bunch of degenerates. Says Weiss. What's your problem? Blake asks with a hint of anger, but only Naruto notices it. My problem? I simply don't care for the criminally insane. Weiss says. The White Fang is hardly a bunch of psychopaths. They're a collection of misguided faunus. Blake says. Misguided? They want to wipe humanity off the face of the planet. Weiss says. So they're very misguided. Either way, it doesn't explain why they would rob a dust shop in the middle of downtown Vale. Blake says. Blake's got a point. Besides, the police never caught that Torchwick guy Naruto and I fought a few months ago, maybe it was him. Rwby says. That still doesn't change the fact that the White Fang are a bunch of scum. Weiss says. They then hear someone yelling to stop a faunus. And that would be my friend. Says Lee. They go and see a monkey faunus. He has tan skin with short spiky light blonde hair, his eyes are blue. He is wearing 2 red wrist bracers over black fingerless gloves and an open loose collared white jacket with no shirt underneath, displaying his muscular physique. He's also wearing blue cargo pants tied up with a white belt. He's wearing white bandages on his legs and has a chain hanging from the belt loop on the right side of his pants. He sports black and yellow sneakers and is wearing a twisted golden necklace around his neck with a round pendant bearing a monkey emblem. And he has a long prehensile monkey tail the same color as his hair. So is that him, Lee? Asks Kiba. Yeah, that's Sun, alright. Lee sighs out as he says as he sticks his hand out and catches Sun by the collar of his shirt as he's going by. Hello Sun, hello officers, you don't have to worry about him, he's just a student from Haven that got on the wrong boat. Lee says to the detectives that started chasing him. Thanks Lee, I owe for that one. Sun says. Sun, you still owe me for the last 30 times I've had to save your butt because you did something stupid. Lee says playfully. I know man, so who are all these guys? Sun asks. These are 7 of the 15 friends I've made in my time at Beacon. This is my partner Naruto Uzumaki, and these 2 are the other half of our team Kiba Inuzuka and Shikamaru Nara, and these 4 are team RWBY, Rwby Rose, Weiss Schnee, Blake Belladonna, and Yang Xiaolong. Lee says as he points at each of them. Nice to meet all of you. Sun says. They all start walking back to the school, but when they turn the corner Rwby walks into someone. Before either of them can fall she feels Naruto tail wrap around her waist, which causes her to blush, and she sees him holding the arm of the girl she almost knocked over. The girl has short curly orange hair and bright green eyes. She is wearing a whitish gray old-fashioned blouse with short gray feminine overalls, as well as a black and green collar with a matching pair of stockings. Her accessories include a pink bow. I'm sorry for running into you. Rwby says. Oh, that's alright, by the way my name's Penny Polendina, it's a pleasure to meet you. Penny says introducing herself. Hello Penny, I'm Rwby. I'm Weiss. Blake. I'm Yang. I'm Naruto. My name is Lee. Kiba. Sun. Well, it's nice to see you again Penny, but if you're here then that means they are here too. Sigh, that's troublesome. Says Shikamaru. I would know that disinterested voice anywhere. Says a girl she is 17 and has teal eyes and sandy blonde hair, which is gathered into 4 consecutive pigtails. Her clothing consists of a purple long-sleeved blouse with a high collar under a gray top and a dark blue skirt with a split in the middle, revealing her leggings with fingerless gloves and black boots, and on her back is a large rectangular object. This is Tamari Sabaku. Beside her is a male, he is 16, he has spiky brown hair and black eyes, he's wearing a black shirt under a black hoodie with a red and yellow circle on the front, black pants and black boots, and on his back is an object surrounded by white tape. This is Kankuro Sabaku. And there is one last male, he is 15, he has short spiky auburn hair and teal eyes with black rings around his eyes, he's wearing a crimson long sleeve shirt and pants that match the color of his shirt and black boots, and on his back is a large gourd. This is Gara Sabaku. Tamari, Kankuro, and Gara, it's nice to see you again. Shikamaru says. Nara, did you come to Beacon to get away from me? Tamari asks angrily, holding onto his ear. Ow, ow, ow. Shikamaru says. What's going on here? Kiba asks, confused. Back in Atlas the two were sort of known as a thing, so she's kind of mad that he chose to go to Beacon instead of Atlas Academy. Says Kankuro. Can you have this conversation when we get to Beacon? Asks Gara. Of course, little bro. Tamari says, sweetly dragging Shikamaru by the ear behind her. Sigh, troublesome, ow, why do you always do this, Tamari? Shikamaru says. Sparring arena. Currently Kiba and Yang are currently on the sidelines watching Naruto and Rwby spar. Come on Rwby, don't hold back. Naruto says. Right. She responds as she lunges at Naruto, whose weapon is in its scythe form, and they clash. They jump back, she pulls the trigger and shoot at him. Naruto starts jumping around and lunges toward Rwby, making her pull her scythe up to block his strike, but she sees him close his eyes and feels his tail grab her ankle and throw her over him. She gets up quickly, but feels a knee in her gut. Rwby, I didn't hurt you too bad, did I? Naruto asks, worried. I'm alright, Naruto. Rwby says as she activates her semblance, turning into a horizontal tornado of roses, and she shoots at Naruto, plowing into him, causing both of them to roll on the ground, and they stop with Naruto on top of Rwby. Good job, Rwby. Naruto says, smiling. DT, thanks, Naruto. Rwby says, blushing because he's smiling at her. You two know you're supposed to go on a date first. Yang says, trying to tease them. What are you talking about? Rwby and Naruto ask at the same time. Naruto, Rwby, look at yourselves closely. Kiba says. They both listen and look, and Rwby blushes, but they notice Naruto's already at the door and he has a full body blush. Let's just get you two back to your dorm. Naruto says, still blushing. Outside Rwby dorm room. They are standing outside the room and they hear yelling. You realize you're defending an organization that hates humanity, don't you? The faunus of the White Fang are pure evil. They hear Weiss yell. There's no such thing as pure evil. Why do you think they hate humanity so much? It's because of people like Cardin, people like you, that force the White Fang to take such drastic measures. Blake yells. People like me? Weiss asks. You're discriminatory. Blake yells. I'm a victim. You want to know why I despise the White Fang? Why I don't particularly trust most faunus? It's because they've been at war with my family for years. War, as in actual bloodshed. My grandfather's company has had a target painted across its back for as long as I can remember. And ever since I was a child, I've watched family friends disappear, board members executed, an entire train car full of dust stolen. And every day my father would come home furious, and that made for a very difficult childhood. You want to know why I despise the White Fang? It's because they're a bunch of liars, thieves, and murderers. Weiss yells. Well, maybe we were just tired of being pushed around. Blake yells, furious. They see the door open, and Blake freezes seeing all of them, but continues after a second and disappears. Weiss, what the hell happened? Yang yells. I just wanted to ask why she was defending the White Fang. Weiss responds sadly. Well, this needs to be worked out, but you should really get some sleep. Naruto says. Hey Naruto. Yang says. Yes, Ms. Xiaolong, let me guess, after all that you're wondering what my take on the White Fang is, since I myself am a faunus. He asks. Yeah, kind of, sorry if you don't want to talk about it. Yang says. No, it's alright. He says as he leans against the doorway. I myself don't really care for the White Fang. Yeah, I agree with what they want, being equality. But on the other hand, I absolutely hate the way they are going about it. Now good night. He says as he and Kiba head to their room. Next morning, NKLS dorm room. Knock, knock, knock. Naruto, Blake, she never came back last night. Naruto hears Rwby yell from the other side of the door. He walks to the door and opens, still a little asleep, only to see Rwby and Weiss's faces turn scarlet in an instant. Besides Blake, is something else wrong? Naruto asks, confused. Haha, Naruto, you don't have a shirt on. Yang says, snickering. Naruto looks down and he joins the Scarlet Face Club. Sorry G, give me a minute. Naruto says as he shuts the door. Did you see his chest? Y says, still blushing. Yeah, he's toned as hell. Yang says. Yang and Weiss look over and see Rwby with sad eyes. Something wrong sis? Yang asks. Did you two see all those scars he had on his chest? Rwby asks sadly. After a couple minutes he comes back out in his normal clothes. Sorry about that, I was half asleep, ready to go. Naruto asks. City of Vale. Lock. Rwby yells. Lock. Yang yells. Lock. Naruto yells. Lock. Where are you? Weiss yells sad because this is her fault. Hey guys, is something wrong? They hear and look back and see Gaara and Penny, but it was Penny that asked. Yeah, Blake and I got into a fight last night and she ran off. Weiss says sadly. I'd like to help then, what about you Gaara? Penny asks. I don't mind, it would probably be smart if we split up into 2 groups of 3. Gaara says. That's a good idea Gaara. I choose Penny and Naruto. Rwby says as she drags the 2 of them with her. Hours later. Naruto, can I ask you a question? Rwby asks nervously. It's about the scars you saw this morning, isn't it? Naruto says. Do you mind, you don't have to. Rwby says. It's alright. Has Weiss told about what I told her of my past? Naruto asks Rwby. No. She says. Well, you've probably figured out that I'm much friendlier with Ozpin than most people are. Naruto asks. Yeah. Rwby says. That's because when I was 5 I was abandoned by my family and I was took in and raised by Ozpin. That's the brief version, I'll tell you the full story some other time. And the truth is he saved me because I was near death and sadly at the time I was ready to die. Naruto says as he hears Rwby and Penny gasp. The thing is me that you know is what people would call a mask to hide all the pain I have on the inside. I'm still broken as the day that Ozpin saved me. Even when I got into Beacon I wasn't really happy, but when I'm with you and the others I am happy. Now when I'm with or helping you and Weiss I just feel happier, I don't know what it is. Sorry about that anyway, about the scars, that is from the hell that is my blood family's training. Naruto says, but then they hear an explosion in the direction the shipping docks. Docks. We find Blake and Sun, they are fighting Torchwick and a group of Frontis dressed in a white sleeveless jacket, a sleeveless black hoodie and black pants, along with black fingerless gloves and metal foot guards and boots. And a mask that looks like a grim. These are the White Fang, and there is a guy leaning against a box, but you can't see anything of him aside from a red foxtail. He has a mask of a snarling fox with a design like bloody tears, and the rest of his head is covered by a hooded form-fitting white, gray and blue tunic with 2 layers of flares. The top layer is solid blue. The second layer has 2 solid white pieces of fabric with blue piping that covered the sides of the thighs. The sleeves have a zipper on the upper arm and wide white cuffs. His pants are a matching gray to the tunic. The back of his tunic has a black 4-pointed star. Hey Blake, who is that guy that you seem so scared of? Sun yells as he hits 4 of the goons in the head with a staff, knocking them out. I don't really know anything about him except that he's known as the Bloody Fox. Blake says as she kicks Torchwick away. Hey Blue, you wanna help or are you just going to sit there and watch? Torchwick yells. No, I'm fine watching you getting your ass handed to you. He says back. Then they all hear people yelling Blake and they all look over and see Naruto, Rwby, Yang, Weiss, Penny and Gaara. Well hello there Red-O, and you brought Foxy with you as well. Isn't it past your bedtime? Torchwick asks jokingly, but before he can continue saying anything he jumps away before a cloud of sand crushes him. Is that sand? Roman yells. Remember no killing. Penny says. I know Penny. Gaara says as he surrounds a group of White Fang and captures them. He hears footsteps behind him. But he hears the sounds of people being tripped. He looks back and sees a group of swords had flew under the group. They have strings attached and they lead back to Penny. Then more sand burst out of the ground and clamped down on them, keeping them from moving. Thanks Penny. Gaara say. No problem Gaara. Penny says as she pulls her swords back, but on the way back the blunt end of one of swords hits one of the White Fang, knocking him out. We have more incoming. Yells Naruto as he bring out his weapon in its pistol form, shooting some White Fang that jumped out of some bullheads, knocking them off balance, and they end up falling on some crates headfirst, knocking them out. Right Naruto? Weiss says as she is using her glyphs to stop the bullets being shot from the bullheads. Good job Weiss. Rwby says as she lunges at a small group of the goons. She uses her scythe to build up momentum, going through a group of goons, knocking them down, and uses the non-bladed side of the scythe, hitting them in the head and knocking them out. Nice one sis. Yang says as she starts clocking goons in the face, knocking them out and even busting some of their masks and even some noses. What the hell are they teaching kids at that school? Roman yells. Roman, we have the dust so let's go. Says the masked White Fang member seriously. Fine Blue. Sorry kiddos, but it's time I left. Torchwick says as he and the Bloody Fox leave in a bullhead. Minutes later. Weiss I'm so Blake goes to say. Blake you have nothing to apologize about, I pushed you over a line and you snapped it's alright and I don't care if you were a member of the White Fang that's in your past, it's not who you are now, you're a good person Blake and I'm sorry if I made you think otherwise. And son. Weiss says. Yeah Weiss. Son responds a little nervous. Lee was right, you are a kind person. Thank you for watching out for our teammate. Weiss says. Sure no problem. Son responds. We find Naruto sitting with his group thinking deeply. Hey Naruto is something wrong you're quieter than Blake is? Yang asks. Yeah I'm alright, just thinking. Naruto says. About what? Rwby asks quizzically. Well the first thing is a trivial matter there's this guy here owns a bookstore called Tuxin's Book Trade, well he has a case of Blake here. By that I mean he is a former you know what that also left because he couldn't stand how violent they got. Anyway he was afraid that they would send some people after to kill him, so I agreed to watch his store while he is in hiding, and the other thing that is on my mind, is the one that I can't figure out, is something about that White Fang with the fox mask. Is Belladonna what did you call him? Naruto asks. He's called the Bloody Fox. What about him is stuck in your head? Blake asks. I don't know why or what it is but something about him is familiar, but I don't know why, and it's annoying me to no end. Naruto says angry. Well you should probably leave it be for Yang goes to say, but stops when a whole pie hits Weiss in the face. They look over and see Nora trying to hold in her laughing while pointing at Ren who is looking down with his face in his hand. Outside as this happened. Man, that's harsh. Says a guy he has tan skin, dark blue eyes and messy light blue hair, in the form of an undercut. He's wearing a white dress shirt under a red jacket adorned with a wide upturned black collar and a silver reticle across the back. He also sports a pair of grey jeans with black padding strapped to the sides, as well as black shoes fastened with straps instead of laces. His accessories include goggles, a tie, and fingerless gloves. This is Neptune Basilius. So then we were fighting side by side and she was super fast and I threw a banana at a guy, which sounds super gross, but it was awesome. Son says excitedly. Nice. Says Neptune. Right. And the best part is she's a faunus. But that's a secret, okay? Son says. Got it. Neptune says. And not I'm gonna go tell Scarlet the second son turns his back secret. I'm talking secret, Son says. Whoa, chill out man, okay? I got it. Neptune says. You better. I just don't wanna screw this up, you know. The people here are the coolest. No offense. Son says as they are walking past a window and someone throws carton across the lunchroom and he smacks against the window. None taken. Neptune says. Okay they're just in here, I'm really excited for you to meet them, so be cool okay? Son asks. It's just nice that we'll be able to see Lee again. Neptune says. They walk in as people are running out while yelling food fight and they see Team JNPR along with Lee on the other end of the cafeteria with a bunch of tables stacked up with Nora at the top yelling that she's the queen of the castle and closer to them is Team RWBY along with NK. Justice will be swift. Justice will be painful. It will be delicious. Rwby yells as she crushes a milk carton. Off with their heads. Nora says playfully as she jumps down and grabs a pole that she then shoves into a watermelon making a hammer, whereas Ren kicks 3 watermelons at RWBY and NK, while John grabs a watermelon and throws it surprisingly hard along with Purra, while Nora also kicks a table which catapults at least 12 watermelons at them. Yang. Turkey. Rwby yells as Yang flips and shoves her hands into 2 turkeys, creating turkey gauntlets who proceeds to destroy all of the incoming watermelons, and then Blake jumps over her and grabs 2 baguettes and start using them as swords, somehow slicing through more incoming watermelons, then Yang throws the turkeys ahead and they almost hit John. Then Purra jumps back dodging a strike from Blake, while Lee and Kiba a couple feet away are fighting hand to hand not using any food as a weapon, and Naruto is teleporting all around the entirety of cafeteria helping Team RWBY and grabs a baguette of his own and blocks a strike from Ren that was aimed for Weiss. Thanks Naruto. Weiss says. No problem. Naruto says, then he teleports and kicks John in the stomach who was about to strike Rwby with a baguette of his own. Thanks Naruto. Rwby says. Of course. Naruto says. Weiss then grabs a swordfish and attacks Ren. Over to the side we see Purra jump back put her hand on the ground and when she stands up all the aluminum cans on the floor float up with a glow around them and she throws her hands forward, launching all the cans distracting each member of Team RWBY and NK, who all consecutively get knocked down, but Rwby gets up in a crouch and then just rockets forward. And then start spinning, turning into the horizontal tornado of roses once again, creating a vacuum tunnel of air pressure behind her, pulling everything in the direction that Rwby is going. She then stopped, making the wall behind her get a giant spider web crack in it. Then all of Team JNPR and Lee slam into the wall. And then all the food and cans of soda start hitting the wall, essentially painting it, and all who were stuck to it. I love these guys. Sun says as he looks over and he sees both Neptune and Shikamaru are both covered in food, and then the doors behind them burst open, and Good Witch walks in practically growling and points her riding crop out, and all the furniture and broken objects start moving to how the cafeteria was before the food fight. Children, please. Do not play with your food. Good Witch says. Let it go. Says Ospen. They're supposed to be the defenders of the world. Good Witch says. And they will be. But right now they're still children. So why not let them play the part? After all, it isn't a role they'll have forever. It's just nice to see Naruto actually having fun. Ospen says, smiling as he walks away. Hours later. We find Naruto standing behind the counter of a bookstore when he hears the bell to the store ring. Hello, welcome to Tuxin's book trade, home to every book under the sun. Naruto says as he sees two people and a Franus walk in. Tuxin was right, wait a minute, that Franus is the one from the other night at the dock. Naruto thinks, alarmed. Right anyway, are you Tuxin? Asks a girl. She has medium brown skin, mint green hair and dark red eyes. She is wearing an intricate white top and an olive crop top, and on the back is a symbol of a cut gem and white pants with brown chaps that ended her calves and brown strappy high-heeled pumps. Her accessories include an overlong belt twice wrapped, which is also where her weapons are, and a pair of green gloves. Sorry Ms, you didn't introduce yourself. Naruto says. Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Emerald Sustrai, and this is my partner Mercury Black, and that is our associate. Emerald says as she points to Mercury as a pale, well-built young man. He has gray eyes and gray hair. He is wearing a slate gray and black two-tone partial zip black pants and boots. His accessories include a gray sash, vambraces, rereverses, and black fingerless gloves. And the guy who was at the dock the other night is currently leaning against the wall, is wearing a blue hoodie over a white t-shirt, blue pants and black steel toe boots, and in place of the fox mask is a pure white mask with no features and of course the red fox tail. Ah, a beautiful name for a beautiful woman. But no, I am not Tuxin, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm sorry if you were hoping to see Tuxin, but he left this morning, he's on his way to take a vacation in Atlas. Naruto says. Oh no worries, it's not like it's your fault. Come on you two. Emerald says, trying to get out of there so no one sees how flustered his comment made her. What's going on? This is the same way I feel when Blue helps me or is just nice to me. She thinks. Minutes later. Damn it. Emerald yells as they are walking into a warehouse full of white fang goons. Ms. Sustrai, calm down, there is nothing we can do about Tuxin, but then again this is Torchwick's fault since he waited so long to do anything. Blue says. Oh look, she sent the kids again. This is turning out just like the divorce. Torchwick says, joking. Ugh. Spare us the thought of you procreating. Emerald says, disgusted. That was a joke. And this just might tell me where you three have been the last couple hours. Torchwick says, pulling up a slip of paper. They see Blue walk up and grab Torchwick by the throat and lift him up against a container full of dust. You know what, Roman, I've had enough of your joking around because of your incompetence to think ahead. Our little rogue Tuxin is now beyond our reach. He is on his way to Atlas, a place that will be like finding a needle in a haystack. Neither Adam nor I would be able to find and kill him. Blue growls out as he drops Torchwick and walks off. Blue doesn't seem happy. States a woman who appears on top of a lift. She has ashen black hair and bright amber eyes. She is wearing a dark red off-the-shoulders V-neck mini dress with yellow designs on the sleeves. The dress itself ends at the knees with black shorts under the dress and dark glass, high-heeled shoes. Cinder. Emerald says excitedly. I thought I made it clear that you would eliminate that runaway. Cinder says. I was going to. Torchwick goes to say is interrupted. Well, it's like I said many times, Roman, you're all bark and no bite, and because of that incompetence he is out of our reach. Blue says. Ah, Blue, you do know I told the two of them not to worry about that runaway. Cinder says threateningly. Yeah, but you also told them to help me with our plans, thus giving me full reign of them following my orders. Blue says, not scared one bit. Blue, are you so eager to anger me? Cinder says. They see Blue get right in Cinder's face. Why, getting angry that out of all the people in this warehouse, it's an 18-year-old who has the balls to stand up to you. Blue says smugly as he sees Cinder actually get angry. Just get out of my sight and take those two with you. Cinder says, angry. Minute later. Why do you antagonize her like that, Blue? Emerald asks. I think it's funny. Mercury says. That's because you like annoying Cinder. Emerald says. Ms. Ustrai, I don't know what Cinder has done for you, but people like her only enjoy a world of fighting and hate, along with people like her being the cause of the current incarnation of the White Fang. The biggest thing you should know about people like Cinder is that they only care about themselves and see other people as tools to get what they want. There's some food for thought. Blue says as he walks away. The last thing we see in the warehouse is Mercury walk off and Emerald looking down in thought. Next day, sparring arena. We find all of teams RWBY, NKLS, JNPR and CFVY, and currently Yang and Kiba are sparring. We see Kiba flowing between all the punches that Yang is throwing his way. Stance. We see everyone else just watching, but if you look closely you'll see that Shikamaru is watching the spar closely. They then see Sun and Neptune sit down next to them. Hey guys, why is Shikamaru watching so closely? Sun asks. Well Sun, even though Yatsu, Fox, Velvet and myself are the older students in the little clique we made, Shikamaru is by far the smartest of us, so most of us are fighting and he will give us tips on what we could improve on. Yang and Kiba are the last to go. Coco says. Oh, that's good I guess. Sun says, and then they all hear Yang yell. Arena. Kiba backs up as Yang's hair flares up and she starts performing an onslaught and they see Kiba increases his speed and is still flowing between her punches. After a couple minutes her flaring hair dies down, he lands one hell of a punch in Yang's gut, making her fall in pain. Sorry Sunny B, hope I didn't hurt you too bad. Kiba says. It's alright Wolfie. Yang says as they walk up to Shikamaru. So Brainiac, what you got for us? Yang asks. Well Yang, the biggest problems that I saw were from you. You're easy to read in a fight, you also telegraph your attacks too much, also you lose your temper too easily, but the biggest problem is that you rely too much on your semblance. You need to learn to moderate use of your semblance like Lee, but that's easier said, since your semblance doesn't cause injury to you like his does. Kiba, you need to stop holding back when you're fighting people you care about. Shikamaru lists to the two of them. Hours later. Naruto is back at the bookstore and he sees Mercury walk in. Ah, Mercury, right? Naruto asks. Yeah, I'm looking for a couple of books, a comic for me and some books for both my friends that I was with the other day. Mercury says. Do you have any specifics for your friends? Naruto asks as he starts moving around the store. Well, Emerald likes intellectual books and Blue like historical books. Mercury says. After a few minutes he places 2 books and a comic. For your friend Blue, history. Huntress and Huntresses, for Ms. Sustrai, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and for you a comic that just hit the shelves yesterday, Grim Man. Naruto says as he places the book down, and the comic has a picture of a man dressed like a Nevermore fighting a guy that looks like a clown. So how much lien do I owe you? Merker asks. They're 20 lien each, so are you here for the Vital Tournament and is Blue on your team? Naruto says. Yeah, we're here for the tournament and no Blue's just a friend and keep the change. Mercury responds as he hands him a lien card that has 100 on it. Thanks and have a good day. Naruto says. I should keep an eye out on them if they are friends with Blue. Naruto thinks. Unknown dream clearing. We find Naruto waking up in a clearing, but this time Rwby and Weiss are also there. Naruto, do you know where we are? Rwby asks. What are you two doing here? Naruto asks, terrified since he knows where they're at. Naruto, what's wrong? Why are you so terrified? Weiss asks. No, we have to get out of here. Naruto says as he grabs their hands and starts running. Naruto, what's wrong? Rwby asks, scared since she's never seen Naruto terrified. Please, be quiet, I don't want them catching us, we need to hide. Naruto says, starting to panic. Naruto, what is going on? Weiss asks. Remember that nightmare from a couple months ago that I had? Naruto asks. How could we not? The skin on your arm fully grew back a week ago. Rwby says. This is the nightmare, but something feels different. Naruto says as he pulls them into a hollowed out tree. Naruto, what are we hiding from? Weiss says. Demons, well, shadow beings more like it. He says. Naruto, you said that it feels different. Do you think it's because we're here? Rwby asks. I don't know, I never thought that anyone could ever get stuck into my nightmare with me, this nightmare is worse than torture. Naruto says, sad and scared. Naruto, Yang told me that when she met you she tried to intimidate you, but you said nothing scares you. Weiss says. Nothing in real life scares me, except the knowledge that any of my friends are in major danger. But this isn't real, this is my literal worst nightmare. When I have this dream it causes me actual pain, but this time around the two of you are in here too. I'm scared of what might happen to the two of you. Naruto says. Are you really trying to hide, just like the monster that you are? They hear a voice as they see a shadowy figure at the entrance to the hollowed out tree. There you are, you little demon, oh, and you have friends this time. It says. Both of you get behind me now. He says, starting to panic, and they do as he said. Ah, that's cute, you're protecting them, I wonder how you'll react when we get our hands on them. The shadow says, and they notice his ears and tail have turned orange. Oh, already letting the real you show. I thought you wanted to hide the real you from your friends, you're just a monster. The shadow says, smirking. Do what you want with me, but leave them be, they have nothing to do with this. Naruto practically pleads before he hears both Weiss and Rwby scream before the shadow punches him in the face, knocking him down, and a small group of shadow beings pin him down as the rest start beating and kicking Weiss and Rwby. Ha 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 ha, do you expect us to actually leave them alone? I wonder how angry you'd get when you're forced to watch the two people you care most about get beaten. The shadow says, laughing. No, 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 leave them alone. Naruto yells as he starts crying as his tail doubles in size and splits into 9 separate tails. Ha 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 ha, you know you could easily stop this if you wouldn't hold yourself back. The shadows say, and just like the last time he blacks out after hearing a monstrous roar, but the pain is worse than last time. Beacon Gardens. Professor Ozpin. Ozpin hears Blake yell behind him on his morning walk. Ah, Ms. Belladonna, is something going on? Ozpin asks. We had to take Rwby, Weiss, and Naruto to the infirmary. Blake says. What happened? He asks as he follows her. I don't know, the entire dorm building woke up to the 3 of them screaming. We woke to Rwby and Weiss covered in bruises that weren't there last night, but they passed out after they stopped screaming. Blake says. And Naruto, what happened to him? Ozpin asks. When I saw him, Shikamaru and Kiba were holding him also on the way to the infirmary. The healed skin on his left arm was peeled along with some skin on his chest and back, but Lee asked how they were doing. She responds. Infirmary. Naruto shoots up in a cold sweat and notices he's in the infirmary. He looks up and sees KLS, Bai, JNPR, CFVY, and Ozpin and Goodwitch. Naruto, are you alright? Ozpin asks concerned, then they all see Naruto's eyes widen and him start looking around in panic. Who cares about me, are Rwby and Weiss okay? He asks in a panic. Naruto, how do you know they got hurt? Yang asks, and then they all see him look down in guilt. They got pulled into your nightmare, didn't they? Ozpin asks. How did you? Naruto goes to ask. The way you're acting, it's not hard to read you. Ozpin says. They are surprised when he breaks down crying. I'm pathetic, aren't I? How can I protect people when I can't even protect my friends from my nightmare? Naruto asks, sounding broken. Naruto, it's not your fault. They hear and look back and see both Rwby and Weiss sitting up, but they see Naruto flinch when he sees all the bruises. Week later, Ozpin's office. We find Ozpin and Goodwitch standing and looking out a window in the main office at a small fleet. Ironwood certainly loves bringing his work wherever he travels. Goodwitch says, slightly angry. Well, running an academy and a military makes him a busy man, but yes, those are a bit of an eyesore. Ozpin says, then they hear the elevator open, a man walks out. He has black hair with the sides being gray and blue eyes. He is wearing a white overcoat with a gray undercoat, black sweater, a red necktie and a white glove on his right hand. His suit pants share the same color as his overcoat and are tucked into silver boots accented in gray. This is James Ironwood. He is the headmaster of Atlas Academy and the general of the Atlas military. Ozpin. Ironwood says cordially. Hello, General. Ozpin says. Please, drop the formalities. It's been too long. And Glinda. It has certainly been too long since we last met. Ironwood says as he shakes Ozpin's hand. Oh, James. I'll be outside. Goodwitch says, losing all pleasantries. Well, she hasn't changed a bit. Ironwood says. So, what has brought you down from Atlas? Headmasters don't typically travel with their students for the Vital Festival. Ozpin says as he hands Ironwood a mug and sits down at his desk. Well, you know how much I love Vale this time of year. Besides, with you hosting, I thought that this might be a good opportunity for us to catch up. Ironwood says. I can certainly appreciate quality time between friends. However, a small fleet outside my window has me concerned. Ozpin says. Well, concerned is what brought them here. Ironwood says. I understand that travel between kingdoms has become increasingly difficult. Ozpin says. As you and I both know why I brought those men. Ironwood says. We are in a time of peace. Shows of power like this are just going to give off the wrong impression. Ozpin says. But if what Crow said is true, Ironwood goes to say but is interrupted. If what Crow said is true, then we will handle it tactfully. It's the Vital Festival, a time to celebrate unity and peace. So I suggest that you not scare people by transporting hundreds of soldiers halfway across the continent. Ozpin says. I'm just being cautious. Ironwood says. As am I. Which is why we will continue to train the best huntsmen and huntresses we can. Ozpin says. Believe me, I am. But ask yourself this. Do you honestly believe your children can win a war? Ironwood asks. I hope they never have to. Ozpin says. But anyway, with all the unpleasantness out of the way, how is my unofficial nephew doing? Ironwood asks. Well, since he's been at Beacon Sai, the nightmare has made itself known twice. The first time was a few months ago, and the second was a week ago. But this time he is even worse off than normal, since 2 other students that he cares for somehow got stuck in the nightmare and they beaten pretty bad. He's terrified that it'll happen again, and I'm scared that it broke him worse than anything. Osmond says, sounding much older. Why is that? Ironwood asks. Well, since that nightmare he's not really talked to anyone and they're all trying to give him some space. But I don't think space is going to help as much as they think. Osmond says. So Oz, what have you found from your vast knowledge while trying to stop the nightmare? Ironwood asks. Not much, other than it has something to do with that power that he has, or more importantly that he's scared of that power. Osmond says. So why does the world seem to like using his life as a punching bag? Ironwood asks sadly. So I don't know, my friend, I just don't know. Osmond sighs out dejectedly. Next day, tea shop. We find Naruto sitting at a table drinking coffee and eating ramen, but he's not wearing his normal clothes or his school uniform. He is wearing a black muscle shirt with his yellow swirl emblem on his back, a pair of blue jeans, and a pair of orange sneakers, and if you look close, you can see really dark bags under his eyes. Naruto, what are you doing here and not with the rest of your friends? He hears and looks up and sees Penny. Oh, Penny, that's a bit difficult to explain. Naruto says, hoping that she'd leave. Naruto, what's hurting you? She asks. How did you? Naruto tries to say. It's written all over your face, and your eyes are also yelling that you're in pain. I'd be willing listening. Penny says. Well, I guess it's like they say the eyes are the window to the soul. Sai, have you seen Rwby or Weiss lately? Naruto asks. Yeah, an hour ago. What happened to them? They had some pretty bad bruises. Penny asks. TT, that's partially my fault. Sometimes I have this nightmare that causes actual pain to me. I had that nightmare a week ago, but the 2 of them somehow got stuck in the nightmare with me. I was terrified what might happen to them. The shadow beings that are in that nightmare pinned me down and forced me to watch as Rwby and Weiss got beaten. I don't know what to do. How can I expect to help people when I can't even protect the people I care about from my own problems? Naruto says, looking down in sadness. So you're staying away from them, you are acting like a child. You're hurting emotionally more than anything right now, and pushing away the people who care about isn't helping, it's just hurting you. But more importantly, you're hurting the people who care and want to help you. They hear and look over to see Gaara and Rwby standing off to the side, seeing that it was Gaara who spoke. Naruto, Gaara's right. Weiss and I have already said it's not your fault that happened. They hear Rwby say as she walks up to them and pulls Naruto into a hug as he starts crying. I just don't want any one of you getting hurt because of me. Naruto says, sobbing. If you feel better right now, you can talk to everyone else later, is that okay with you, Foxy? Rwby says, not realizing that she called him Foxy. I don't mind that now, Gem, thanks. You look nice. Naruto says, also not realizing what he called her, but noticing her new outfit, which is comprised of a long-sleeve light gray shirt with black belted cuffs near the ends of the sleeves. Over top of the gray shirt is a black pinafore with 2 vertical lines of red stitching that resemble the lacing on a corset. She wears a red skirt with a large black print of her emblem on the side and matching black tulle underneath. Her stockings and shoes remain the same as her original outfit, though the boots lack the red trim that decorated the top. A few pieces of metal arranged in an abstract shape are attached to the shoulder of her left sleeve, and her cloak's hood has been wrapped around her neck in a scarf-like fashion, while the rest hangs down like normal. Oh, thanks. Rwby says, blushing, but then her scroll starts going off. She opens it and it says son. She answers and they hear him yell something about a really big robot. Oh, I am not missing this, come on Naruto. Rwby says. Penny, Gaara, thanks for straightening me out. Naruto says. No problem, Naruto. They both say. Underpass. Rwby and Naruto get to an underpass just as Blake, Sun, Yang, Kiba, Weiss and Neptune jump down as Torchwick in a robot suit is knocked off the overpass. Hey Rwby, you found Naruto? Weiss asks. Well, it's more like Penny found him and I found Gaara, so we went to meet Penny where she asked me to meet her, and we found her talking to Naruto about the nightmare. Rwby says. Ah, is Foxy actually scared of his nightmares? Torchwick mocks. Freezer burn. Rwby yells, and Weiss creates a glyph on the ground. She jumps back, and Yang jumps and hits the center of the glyph with Ember Celica, spreading a thick mist across the field. And Rwby and Naruto appear both with their weapon out in their scythe form, and they slash at the legs, making it lose balance for a second. Checkmate. Rwby yells, and Blake and Weiss go in this time, each girl going for the feet until Weiss jumps up and stabs a sensor before leaping off of a white glyph. Roman lifts the paladin's foot to crush Blake, but Weiss summons another glyph under her teammate to launch her backwards before the crushing blow can land. Roman growls and fires off the missiles, but Weiss and Blake flip backwards as the explosions merely hit where they were. Finally, Weiss jumps up too high and Roman fires a double energy blast at her, But she disappears in a flash of yellow. Torchwick looks and notices Weiss now being put back on her feet by Naruto. She casts a beam of light from her weapon to the ground under Blake, forming a yellow clockwork circle that's absorbed into the Faunus girl and lets her slice through each launched missile with ease in a flurry of super fast slashes. Golden drill. Naruto yells and Kiba jumps over to him and Naruto sends his weapon into its compact form and then throws it, then they both appear above Torchwick and Kiba starts spinning into his drill state and he takes one of the robot's arms off and Naruto pulls his weapon down in its scythe form, taking the other arm off and they see Naruto standing on top of the robot. Frozen cross-cut. Rwby yells, and directly after she does her and Weiss appear on top of the robot and Mertnister piercing the shell of it and it starts to freeze and both Rwby and Naruto bringing their scythe in an opposite diagonal slash, making an X-shaped cut in the robot which falls apart with Weiss, Rwby and Naruto back over with their group. Just got this thing cleaned, Torchwick says as he dusts off his clothes and Yang uses her gauntlet shotgun feature to shoot a blast of fire dust at Torchwick and when the smoke of the blast clears up, they see that the round was blocked by an umbrella and when it is lifted, they see a rather short girl. Her hair is half pink and half brown, with white streaks on the pink side, her left eye is brown and her right eye is pale pink. She is wearing a white-tailed jacket with a pink interior and one wide broad tail, brown pants, black gloves, and black and white boots with very high heels and multiple buttons on each side. Under her jacket is a brown corset, curved in the middle and at the bottom, exposing her hips. She is also wearing a multitude of necklaces, which hang haphazardly around her neck. Red, Foxy, Ice Queen, ladies, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. Neo if you would, Torchwick says as Neo curtsies and Yang lunges at them and when she gets to them she strikes, but when she hits them, it's as if she hit a giant mirror and they along with a massive scenery shatter like glass. They all look over to see Torchwick and Neo escaping on a bullhead. Naruto. Weiss says. Yeah, Weiss. Naruto asks. Why have you been staying away from us? Weiss asks sadly. I'm sorry, but after what happened to you and Rwby I've just been terrified, but I guess I just needed a good lecture about staying away isn't helping, but instead just making it worse. Naruto says sadly. Naruto after what happened it's alright to be scared, but if something like this happens again, please don't hesitate to confide in us your troubles. Weiss says trying to cheer him up. Right, I'll try my best. Naruto says. Alright, let's go find those two idiots and get back to campus. Kiba says as they all start walking away. Naruto. They hear Rwby and Weiss scream, they all look back and see Naruto unconscious on the ground. They see Blake walk up and take a look. It's alright, look at how dark the bags under his eyes are, he's just severely exhausted and that fight just made it worse, he must have been too terrified to go back to sleep after what happened to the two of you. Blake says. Infirmary next morning. Naruto starts waking up and when he opens his eyes he sees that he's in the infirmary again, but even more he sees a head of white hair spread all over the bed and sees that Weiss is fully asleep with her head lying down on her crossed arms. He sits up waking up Weiss, she brings her head up. Naruto notices that she is wearing the same thing she was wearing last night, which is a white double-breasted jacket with black piping, cuffs, and buttons over a white pleated full skirt with black lace trim. She also wears a pair of white thigh-high boots with black heels and lace-topped black stockings. Weiss, how long have you been here? He asks, blushing a little. Oh, Rwby must have woke up and went to get breakfast. She says. Why would you think that? He asks. Because Rwby and I stayed in the infirmary all night because we were worried about you. She says blushing. Well thank you for your concern, you look nice with your hair down like that and that outfit looks nice. He says blushing. Oh, well thank you. She says slightly flustered, but then she notices Naruto get really sad. Naruto, what's wrong? Weiss asks worried. And nothing you can help with. He says sadly. Naruto, you said if anything is bothering you, you would talk to us. She says. I know, Sai, it's just I've kind of lied about hating all of my blood family. There is one of them that I'd like to see again. He says as he pulls out his wallet and pulls a picture out of it and shows it to Weiss. She sees that it's a picture of a much younger Naruto who she notes has a real smile on his face and a boy who has to be at least 3 years older than him, but it'd be hard to tell since they look almost like identical twins. He has spiky red hair, violet eyes, red fox ears and a red fox tail, and of course whisker marks, and in the picture they're both wearing a white shirt, gray shorts, and black sneakers. Who is this Naruto? She asks. This is my older brother Manamikaze. He says. Why does he have a different surname from you, Naruto? They hear and see Rwby with 3 to-go boxes. Oh, hey Rwby. To answer why my brother and I have different surnames is because we don't, my given name is Naruto Namikaze. But after Osban saved me I changed my last name to Uzumaki. He says looking down. Naruto, what's got you thinking about him all of a sudden? Rwby asks. It's just that tomorrow would be his 19th birthday. Rwby, it's just since we've all been friends sometimes I'm envious of how you and Yang are like. Normally around this time all I can think of is how much could have been different if I had never been abandoned. He says sadly, starting to cry. Come on Foxy. Cheer up please. Sadness and tears don't look right on you at all. Rwby and Y say as they pull him into a hug and like a floodgate all the emotions he's held in for years break out. They don't notice Ospen leave with a smile on his face. Those two are healing you better than I ever could have. Ospen thinks. We find teams RWBY, NKLS, and JNPR sitting at their normal table. We see Weiss talking on her scroll. So what's going on with Team CFVY's mission, Weiss? Yang asks. They figured out that their mission is going to be longer than they thought, so Coco wants you and me to set up the dance, even though they'll miss the dance themselves. Weiss says. Well, they certainly chose the right people for the task. Naruto says. Hey Weiss. Purah says. Yeah Purah. Weiss says. What did you do with your hair? It's at this point that they all notice that Weiss's hair is different from usual. It's now down to her mid-back and left out of the ponytail that it's normally in. Oh this. Someone said that it looks nice left to flow out. All of them aside from Naruto and Rwby notice Weiss' eyes flick over to Naruto when she said someone and they smile. Good for you Weiss. Purah says happy that her friend is starting to enjoy herself instead of trying to live up to her name. Yeah good for you Weiss, whoever caught your attention is one lucky person. Rwby says happy for her partner. Yeah, good for you Snowflake. If he ever tries anything just let me know and I'll set him straight for you. Naruto says happy for her. Why does my chest hurt? Naruto thinks to himself with a tiny feeling of sadness. Naruto, are you still that dense to not know she's talking about you? John thinks, completely confused. You even have a pet name for both Rwby and Weiss. John continues to think. Hey Foxy, would you like to help with the dance? Weiss asks a little shyly. Well, since you asked Snowflake I'd be happy to help. Though this isn't my place of expertise considering that the reason I ended up getting into Beacon was because I fought Torchwick while trying to stay away from a dance. Naruto says. So who here has someone in mind to go to the dance with? Kiba asks as he, Yang, John, Purah, Ren, Nora, Shikamaru, and surprising most of them, Rwby shakily raises her hand too with a blush on her face and again aside from Naruto, they all know who she's thinking of asking. Good for you Gem. Like I said to Snowflake, if he tries anything I'll straighten him out. Naruto says as his chest hurts again. The others aside from Rwby and Weiss are thinking how Naruto can be so dense. So Snowflake, where is the dance going to be anyway? Naruto asks. The plan is in the auditorium. Weiss says. Okay, Snowflake, let's go start planning. See you later Gem. Naruto says, still not noticing Rwby and Weiss blushing from the pet names he's given them. Alright Naruto. Yang, you coming? Weiss asks. I think I'll stay a little longer. Yang says. Several days later. Hey Wolfie, where's Naruto? Rwby wanted to talk to him. Yang asks. He said that he needed to talk to Ospen about something, but he wouldn't say what it was. Kiba says as they walk out of combat class and they see Sun standing outside of the building. Hey Blake. You doing okay? Sun asks. I'm fine. Blake says. So I hear there's this dance going on this weekend. Sounds pretty lame, but you and me, I'm thinking, not as lame, huh? Sun asks. What? Blake says agitated. A dance? This weekend? You wanna go, or what? Sun asks. I don't have time for a stupid dance. I thought you of all people would get that. Blake says angry as she walks off. Ospen's office. Ospen is sitting talking to Ironwood when they hear the elevator ding. They look back and see Naruto walk in and they can tell he's nervous and he's thinking deeply. Yes, Naruto. Ironwood says and they see his head snap up. Oh, Uncle Ironwood. I didn't know you were here. Sorry for interrupting. Naruto says. It's alright my boy, we were just catching up. But what's wrong with you? You look like you're thinking deeply about something. Ironwood says. Oh, that well I can't figure something out. Naruto says. What do you mean? What can't you figure out? Ospen asks. I think something is wrong with me. Naruto says quietly. Why, what's wrong? Ospen asks, but he has a feeling he knows what's going on. Well, ever since the day we fought Torchwick when he stole one of Uncle Ironwood's paladin robots, sometimes my heart will start beating really quickly and I can't figure out why. Naruto says. What's usually going on when your heart starts beating quicker? Ospen asks and they both hear him mumble something. What was that, Naruto? Ospen says and they see him with a blush but they are able to tell he doesn't know why. It usually happens when I'm around Rwby or Weiss. Naruto says a little louder and he hears Ironwood start laughing. Why are you laughing uncle? Naruto asks embarrassed. Sorry my boy, I couldn't help it. Naruto, there's nothing wrong with you. Ironwood says. Then what is going on? Naruto asks. Naruto, what do you think about Weiss and Rwby? Ozpin asks, but they can't believe it when the blush on his face actually gets darker. Oh, well, they're both really beautiful, kind and caring. Weiss is a little bossy, but her heart is generally in the right place. While Rwby is always trying to do the right thing and help everyone she can. Naruto says, and at this point his entire face is scarlet. Boy Jimmy, Oz, will you two stop tormenting the poor boy? They hear and they look back and see a male probably 38 or 39, he has graying black, spiky hair, dull red eyes and slight stubble along his jawline, he's wearing a gray dress shirt with a long tail, black dress pants and black dress shoes, along with a red tattered cloak. Professor Branwen. Naruto says as he walks up. None of that Professor Branwen stuff, kid. After Rwby, Yang, and yourself got into Beacon I stopped teaching, so just call me Crow, Naruto. Now kid, as for why you wanted to talk to Oz, there is nothing wrong with you at all. Naruto, you're in love. Crow says. Wait, what? Naruto squeaks out as all three of them start laughing since now his entire body is scarlet. Naruto, is that all? Ozpin asks smiling. Why yeah. Naruto responds as he starts leaving. Hey kid. Crow says. Why yeah Crow. Naruto says as he looks back and sees Crow glaring at him. Just know this, you break her heart I'll break your face. Crow says smirking when somehow his blush gets even darker. Alright. He stutters out as he goes down the elevator. Beacon Gardens. We find Yang and Rwby tending to some of the garden. I'm surprised that you wanted to help me with this. Rwby says. Well, I wanted to talk to you about the dance. Yang says, tending to some lilacs. What do you mean? Rwby says with a blush on her face, but Yang grabs her shoulder and turns her around. Rwby, outside of Naruto, all of us know you want to ask Naruto to the dance. Since I'm your older sister, I want to know why haven't you asked him yet? Yang asks. You're not against it? Rwby asks, stunned while still blushing. Rwby, maybe if it was any other guy aside from Naruto, I'd do my job as an older sister and scare them to death, but I know I can trust Naruto, especially after what happened with the nightmare a few weeks ago. He didn't care about how bad he got hurt. As soon as he woke up he asked how you and Weiss was. Rwby, I want to know, what do you think of Naruto? Yang asks and isn't shocked when Ruby's blush darkens. Oh, well, he's kind, caring, no matter what he's doing he'll drop what he's doing and help, he's protective of his friends, he'll listen to your problems, and he's handsome. Rwby says, matching both parts of her name. Rwby, if that's what you think, then why haven't you asked him to the dance yet? Yang asks. Well, he's been with Weiss all week so he's probably going with her. Rwby says sadly. Rwby, I've been with them all week as well, and I'll tell you that they are doing something together at the dance, but they aren't going to the dance together. They're going to sing a duet together. When I asked why she didn't ask him to the dance, she said she knows that you want to ask him. Yang says. Really, but do you think he'd actually want to go with me? She asks happy, but then gets downcast. Rwby, if it was me, Blake, Nora, Purrit, Velvet or Coco he could possibly say no. But if it's you or Weiss I don't think he could say no. So how about we go find him and you ask him? Yang asks happily. Why yeah, but can we finish here first? Rwby asks. Sure. Yang says pleased. Yang? Rwby asks. Yeah sis. Yang responds. If Weiss didn't ask Naruto, is she going to the dance alone? Rwby asks, sad for her partner. No. It took some convincing, but we were able to talk Neptune into asking her. Yang says. Why would he need convincing, he seems to like Weiss? Rwby asks, confused. Well, it turns out that he can't dance. But Sun said something about if Weiss asked him and he said no, it could hurt her feelings, and how Naruto might react if he found out that Neptune turned down Weiss and hurt her feelings. He agreed pretty quickly. It was a low blow that Sun used to do it, but it worked. Yang says. Okay. Rwby says. 30 minutes later. Rwby gets up after she's done tending to a rose bush when she feels Yang tap her shoulder. When she turns she sees Yang pointing to a gated-off portion of the gardens, which they are just now realizing has a sign that says Naruto's garden, and Rwby sees that Naruto is in there tending to a really big garden, currently tending a patch of gladiolus flowers. Looks like we won't have to go find him after all. Go on Rwby, go talk to him. Yang says supportive. Oh okay. Rwby says as she walks toward the gated-off part of the garden. And Naruto. Rwby says with a blush on her face. They both see him snap up in surprise, and only Yang notices the blush on his face. Rwby, what are you doing here? Naruto stutters out. Well, Yang and I were tending to some of the flowers, and well, I remembered I wanted to talk to you. Rwby says. Anytime you want to talk, I'm willing to listen. Naruto says as he walks out of the garden. Well, I wanted to know, would you like to go to the dance with me? she says, closing her eyes, and after a couple seconds she feels a hand start to ruffle her hair and she opens her eyes and sees him smiling. "Damn, I'd be honored to go to the dance with you," Naruto says with a dark blush. "Thank you," Rwby yells and hugs him while trying to hide her blush. "Jam, anyone you could have asked would need to be crazy to say and no." Naruto stutters out as he starts patting her back as his face is once again entirely scarlet. "Okay Rwby, let's go, I'm guessing we all need to get ready for tomorrow night," Yang says, completely pleased as she drags Rwby away. The next night, 30 minutes before dance. We find Naruto, Kiba, Sun, Neptune, John, and Ren standing and waiting outside of the dorm building. Naruto is wearing a black suit, orange outline over an orange suit vest over a white dress shirt and an orange tie, black dress pants and black dress shoes. Kiba is much the same, except his tie suit vest, and the highlights are gray. Sun is wearing mostly the same as his casual clothing, aside from a black buttoned-up dress shirt and a purple tie. Neptune is wearing the same as Naruto and Kiba aside that his suit vest is gray and he has a bow tie instead of a tie, his bow tie, and the highlights are golden. John and Ren are wearing the thing as Neptune except their bow tie and highlights are red. They all look back when they hear doors to the dorms open and they feel all their mouths open. Rwby's hair is normal, she's wearing a short red sleeveless dress with a thick black sash around the waist and black trim along the bottom. The bodice of the dress is split vertically to the sash and laced with black lacing. The yoke of the dress is translucent mesh with an opaque collar and hem, as well as opaque lines connecting the collar to her shoulders. She's also wearing black stockings and pumps. Weiss's hair is let down like it was the other day. She's wearing a short white sleeveless dress with cutouts on both sides of her waist. The yoke of the dress is translucent mesh and she's also wearing white pumps. Yang's hair is normal, she's wearing a short white halter neck dress with a pale gray hem and white pumps. Blake's hair is normal, she's wearing a short purple asymmetrical halter neck dress that is split up the right side and has a black collar, translucent black mesh covers her shoulders, décolletage and back, and decorative black swirls cover the left side of the dress and continue up the left strap. The outfit is completed with black pumps and she wears a teal bow as opposed to her usual black one. Hers hair is normal, she's wearing a red strapless dress with an open back and a slit up the left side of the dress and black pumps. Nora's hair is normal, she's wearing a pink strapless dress with a white skirt and white pumps. Each of the guys walk up and hand a rose to the girl that they're taking to the dance, being Naruto and Rwby, Neptune and Weiss, Kiba and Yang, Sun and Blake, John and Purah, and Ren and Nora. "These roses are beautiful," Yang says as the others nod their heads. "You can thank Naruto for that," John says as they all start walking to the auditorium. "Why is that?" Rwby asks, having to hold on to Naruto's arm so she doesn't trip, as the rest of the girls look to him for an answer to the same question and they're actually surprised to see Naruto blushing while scratching his cheek. "Oh, well, those roses are from my personal flower garden," Naruto says, blushing like mad. "Thank you Foxy, you look nice," Rwby says, blushing. "Oh, thanks Gem, I'll look really be beautiful," Naruto says as his and Ruby's blushes darken. "Hey kiddo, you and Foxy make a good little couple, you know." They hear and look over to see Crow. "Uncle Crow," both Rwby and Yang yell. "Come on all you lovebirds, I want to see what you have to make this dance memorable," Crow says, smirking when he sees Naruto and Ruby's blushes darken even more. Auditorium. "Now that everyone's present, 3 of our own have something special to start this year's dance off," Osmond says as everyone sees Naruto, Rwby, and Weiss sitting in chairs. They all see Weiss and Naruto walk up to mix as music starts playing. "The Wanted, glad you came." Naruto. "The sun goes down, stars come out, and all that counts is here, and no, me universe will never be the same, I'm glad you came." Naruto. "You cast a spell on me, you hit me like the sky fell on me, and I decided you look well on me, so let's go somewhere no one else can see, you and me." Weiss. "Turn the lights out, no, I'll take you by the hand you another drink it, if you can you spend a little time is slipping away from us, so stay with me, I can make you glad you came." Both. "The sun goes down, stars come out, and all that counts is here, and no, me universe will never be the same, I'm glad you came." Naruto. "You cast a spell on me, you hit me like the sky fell on me, and I decided you look well on me, so let's go somewhere no one else can see, you and me." Weiss. "Turn the lights out, no, I'll take you by the hand you another drink it, if you can you spend a little time is slipping away from us, so stay with me, I can make you glad you came." Both. "The sun goes down, stars come out, and all that counts is here, and no, me universe will never be the same, I'm glad you came." Both. "I'm glad you came, so glad you came, I'm glad you came." Naruto. "The sun goes down, stars come out, and all that counts is here, and no, me universe will never be the same, I'm glad you came." And when they get done, the entire auditorium bursts into cheers. When the cheers die down, they see Weiss make her way back to her seat, and then more music comes on with Naruto still standing. 1,000-foot crotch be somebody. I'm just a boy inside the man, not exactly who you think I am, trying to trace my steps back here again. So many times I'm just a speck inside your head. You came and made me who I am. Remember where it all began, so clearly. I feel a million miles away, still you connect me in your way and you created me, something I would have never seen when I can only see the floor. You made my window a door, so when they say they don't believe, I hope that they see you and me after all the lights go down. I'm just the words, you are the sound, a strange type of chemistry, how you've become a part of me when I sit alone at night. Your thoughts burn through me like a fire, you're the only one who knows who I really am. We all want to be somebody, we just need a taste of who we are. We all want to be somebody, we're willing to go, but not that far. And we're all see-through, just like glass, and we can shatter just as fast. That light's been burned out for a while, I still see it every time I pass. It was lost in the coldness of my mind, behind a box of reasons we never doubted it was there, just took a little time to find. And even when I feel a million miles away, still you connect me in your way and you created me, something I would have never seen when I can only see the floor. You made my window a door, so when they say they don't believe, I hope that they see you and me after all the lights go down. I'm just the words, you are the sound, a strange type of chemistry, how you've become a part of me when I sit alone at night. Your thoughts burn through me like a fire, you're the only one who knows who I really am. We all want to be somebody, we just need a taste of who we are. We all want to be somebody, we're willing to go, but not that far. We all want to be somebody, we just need a taste of who we are. We all want to be somebody, we're willing to go, but not that far. I'm just a boy inside the man, not exactly who you think I am, trying to trace my steps back here again. So many times when I can only see the floor. You made my window a door, so when they say they don't believe, I hope that they see you in me. And after he's done, he walks back to his seat and they all notice that Rwby is fidgeting and slightly pale. Then they all see Naruto say something and she calms down. She walks up to the mic and music starts playing. Adam Lambert runnin'. Steel to my tremble and lip show. Did the night ever get like this? One shot and the whiskey goes down, down, down. Bottom of the bottle hits, waking up my mind as I throw a fit. Breaking is taking me down, down, down. My heart's beating fast. Know what I'm after. I've been standing here my whole life, everything I've seen twice. No, it's time I realize it, spinning back around. No, in this road I'm crillins of me cause I'm full in. No, I can't seem to breathe right cause I keep running from my heart. Round and around I go, addicted to the numb, living in the cold, higher, the lower, the down, down, down. Sick of being tired and sick and ready for another kind of fix. Damage is damming me down, down, down. My heart's beating fast. Know what I'm after. I've been standing here my whole life, everything I've seen twice. No, it's time I realize it, spinning back around. No, in this road I'm crillins of me cause I'm full in. No, I can't seem to breathe right cause I keep running from my heart. Oh, I'm coming Olivia, I'll wake up now and Livio, I'm coming Olivia. Life that's always been a dream, you'll wake up now and live. I've been standing here my whole life, me heart's beating fast. Know what I'm after. I've been standing here my whole life, everything I've seen twice. No, it's time I realize it, spinning back around. No, in this road I'm crillins of me cause I'm full in. No, I can't seem to breathe right cause I keep running from my heart cause I keep running from my heart. And when the song ends, the entire auditorium is too stunned to do anything, and when they all notice Ruby's downcast look, everyone in the entire auditorium cheers so loudly that they could probably be heard from Vale, and then they all see her face split into the biggest smile any of them have ever seen, and she runs and leaps onto Naruto and hugs him for his encouragement. Finally Weiss walks up to the mic and more music starts playing. Katy Perry, Unconditionally. Oh no, did I get too close? Oh, did I almost see what's really on the inside? All your insecurities, all the dirty laundry, never made me blink one time. Unconditional, unconditionally will love you unconditionally. There is no fear, no let go, and just be free, will love you unconditionally. Just as you are to and need apologies, know that you are all worthy. You'll take your bad days with your good, walk through this storm. I will do it all because I love you, I love you. Unconditional, unconditionally will love you unconditionally. There is no fear, no let go, and just be free, will love you unconditionally. So open up your heart and just let it beg, and open up your heart and just let it beg, and open up your heart and just let it beg, and open up your heart. Acceptance is the key to be truly free. Will you do the same for me? Unconditional, unconditionally will love you unconditionally, and there is no fear, no let go, and just be free cause I will love you unconditionally. Oh yeah. I will love Yaoi, will love Yaoi, will love you unconditionally. And they all knew Weiss was going to be amazing, but to actually hear her in person, they're almost as stunned as with Rwby, and then they cheer loudly. Weiss then walks and hugs Naruto and says something that makes him smile. 30 minutes later. We now see people dancing, Naruto and his little group. Rwby, how long have you been hiding that singing voice? Yang asks. Well, this is the first time I've ever sang. Thank you for encouraging me to do it, Foxy. Rwby says, blushing. Well, Gem, you know it's pretty difficult to take me by surprise, and that's all I was, completely stunned. Naruto says. Thanks, Foxy. Rwby says. I still can't believe that Yang, Blake and Weiss convinced you to do it. John says. Hey, this is a dance, so how about we start dancing, Gem? Naruto asks with his hand out for her to take. I'd love to. You know I never cared for dances before, but if we can do this every year then I wouldn't mind. Rwby says as they go to the dance floor, Naruto helping her, and Rwby places her head against his chest in content without fully realizing it. How is it that the two most antisocial of our group is on the dance floor first? Kiba asks, truly confused. Well, how about we change that? Yang says as she pulls Kiba over to the dance floor. How about it, Purah? John says with his hand out. Why, of course, John. Purah says, taking his hand. Sai, how about it, Mary? Shikamaru says. Of course, you lazy bum. Tamari says, taking his hand, smiling. But how adamant against dances you were, I thought you wouldn't know how to dance. Rwby says. Well, you wouldn't be wrong, since during the time that we were setting up the dance, Yang and Weiss taught me and Neptune how to dance. Naruto says sheepishly. Oh, that was nice of them. Rwby says with Naruto leading her while dancing. After a while more and more people start dancing, Weiss, Blake and Sun finally got Neptune to dance with Weiss, and surprising a few people, Gaara and Penny are dancing together. Well, that explains why when we ran into them, they were always together. Naruto says. I guess it does. Rwby says as she looks up and sees Naruto deep in thought. Foxy, is something wrong? Rwby asks. Oh, sorry. Gem, do you like us being friends? Naruto asks shyly. Why would you ask? Of course I love us being friends. But can I ask you something? Rwby asks shyly. Of course. Naruto says. Foxy, have you ever been near someone and your heart starts beating faster? Rwby asks and she looks up and sees Naruto's face is scarlet. Yeah, that's kind of why I went and talked to Ozpin yesterday, because my heart was doing that around you and Weiss. Who are you around when it happens? Naruto asks. I'm usually around you. She says nervously but doesn't know why, but then she notices that his face is darker. Crow told me that it's normal. But he said that when your heart does that, it means Naruto says. What? Rwby asks. It means you're in love with that person. Naruto squeaks out and they both freeze. Are you sure that's what it means? Rwby asks. I don't know, that's what your uncle said, you, want to find out. Naruto asks with his face the same color as her namesake. What do you mean? Rwby asks equally as red. I mean this. He says as he plants his lips onto hers, and before she can register what happened she melts into the kiss. A distance away Yang and Kiba are dancing, and then she feels Kiba stop, she opens her eyes and sees Kiba's mouth dropped, and she notices that all her friends and even some of the teachers, and most surprising is Crow, are all in a similar state. What's going on? Yang asks as she turns around and sees Naruto and Rwby practically making out. Oh, Dad is going to love this. Yang says as she takes a picture with her scroll and sends it. After about 2 minutes they pull apart, both being completely scarlet. That was amazing. They both say, but blush when they notice so many people staring, some looking surprised, others smiling. What are you looking at? Naruto asks, trying to sound intimidating, but he notices they're all just chuckling at them. Ditto, Foxy, with the blushes the two of you are sporting, you couldn't intimidate a fly. Crow says, chuckling as he pulls them both into a hug. I know I said I was alright with this, but I didn't expect you to work so fast. Crow says, chuckling. Well, it's not like I planned on it happening, see, call it spur of the moment if you will. Naruto says, sweating with Crow holding him. Foxy, where are you sweating? Out of all the guys in this room you're the only one I trust with Rwby. Crow says. Really? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Rwby yells, hugging her uncle, and giggles when she hears Naruto sigh in relief. You're okay with it, but how about Yang or Tai? Naruto asks. If Yang was going to do anything, it would have happened directly after the two of you stopped making out. Crow says, smirking when they both blush deeply. We weren't making out. Rwby says. Rwby, a kiss does not last 2 whole minutes. Crow says, trying to hold in his laughter when they both match Ruby's namesake. And while I can't completely speak for Tai, he and I have known you for a long time, kid. You're probably the only male that Tai would trust, but let's all just get back to the dance. Crow says as their friends walk up to them. Well, it's about time one of you took the leap. John says, patting Naruto on the back. What? They both squeak out. You two look so cute together. Nora yells. I actually agree with Nora here. Ren says. It was only a matter of time. Gaara says. Hey Weiss, you alright? Neptune whispers. Oh yeah, oh of course. Weiss whispers. Why of all people did I have to fall for the same guy as my partner? I knew this was likely to happen. Weiss cries on the inside and Rwby notices how sad she seems. Naruto, Weiss, can we talk outside? Rwby asks. Sure. Naruto says. Oh, of course. Weiss says, trying not to cry. Outside? Gem, what did you want to talk about? Naruto asks. Weiss, is something wrong? Rwby asks. And no, nothing is wrong. Weiss says, starting to tear up. Naruto, I think Weiss needs a shoulder to cry on. Rwby says as Naruto listens and pulls Weiss into a hug and the dam breaks. It's alright, Snowflake. Naruto say, rubbing her back. Weiss, you love Foxy just like I do, don't you? Rwby says, none of them notice their friends watching. Rest of group. So Yang, do you think they can make this love triangle work? Kiba asks. I think Naruto will find a way, I don't think he could stand hurting either one of them. Yang says. You'd be right there, Firecracker. Crow says, and they look back seeing him, Ozpin and Ironwood. What do you mean by that, Mr. Branwin? John asks. Well, Mr. Arc, Naruto came to talk to me yesterday about the fact that he couldn't figure out that he's in love with both Rwby and Weiss. The fact is he couldn't stand himself if he hurt either of them physically or emotionally. Ozpin says. Rwby, Weiss, and Naruto. I don't know why I'm so sad, I did most of the stuff in this D-dance to get the two of you together. I knew there was no place for me. Weiss says, fully crying into Naruto's chest. He looks at Rwby and she nods at him, smiling. Snowflake, please look at me. Naruto says softly as she looks up at him and both Rwby and his hearts almost break with how vulnerable she looks. Weiss, I love you just as much as Rwby, I don't know what I would do without you, Rwby. Naruto says, pulling Weiss closer as she's still crying. Weiss, I know this isn't normal, but then again I've never been much of a normal girl, but I don't mind sharing Foxy with you. Naruto, how about you hammer this talk home? Rwby says. Rwby, what do you mean? Weiss asks. Snowflake, I think she means this. He says as he locks lips with her and similarly to Rwby she melts into the kiss. After a couple minutes they separate. Weiss is too stunned to say anything. Snowflake, do you feel better? Naruto asks, blushing. Why yeah. Weiss squeaks out, surprising them, her face is scarlet as they all walk back into the dance. Hour later. Foxy, are you alright if I go out to get some air? You could dance with Weiss if you want to. Rwby says. Of course I don't mind, Gem. Naruto says as she walks outside and he walks over to Weiss and Neptune and taps Neptune's shoulder. Mind if I cut in? Naruto asks. Of course not. Neptune says as he sits down. Snowflake, you look really nice and I'd like to thank you for everything you did, not just teaching me how to dance, but even if it hurt you at first. But also doing it to get me and Rwby together, and I was being serious when I said I love you just as much as Rwby. Naruto says as the two of them slow dance. I love you to Foxy and you look nice too. Weiss says. Rwby. Rwby walks out the door. She looks up to stare at the stars. This night was amazing. She thinks, smiling. Then she notices movement and looks and sees a woman jumping over building roof toward the CCT tower. That might be trouble. Rwby thinks. When she gets there she sees multiple Elysian guards knocked out. She pulls out her scroll and puts in like a pin number and a locker rockets into the ground and she pulls Crescent Rose out and heads into the CCT. She goes in and sees more knocked out Elysian guards. She heads up on the elevator. She walks into a room full of holographic computers. Hello, is anyone there? Hello. Rwby asks and she sees the mysterious woman stand up behind a row of computers. Excuse me. You know, it's not a masquerade party, so why don't you take off that? She goes to say but is interrupted. The woman produces a container of ice dust and sends shards of ice flying at Rwby, who spins her scythe blocking the shards and then plants Crescent Rose into the ground and pulls the trigger, shooting at the woman who blocks the shots with her hand. The woman then proceeds to pull out two black swords while Rwby pulls Crescent Rose out of the ground and uses a shot to propel herself at the woman, who proceeds to jump back, merging her swords into a bow and shoots 3 arrows at Rwby. Rwby backpedals enough that the arrows hit the ground and explode on contact. Rwby uses Crescent Rose to stop herself from falling. They both hear the elevator ding and they look and see General Ironwood, who walks out and sees Rwby alone. Ms. Rose, what are you doing here with your weapon? Ironwood asks sternly. Oh, General Ironwood, I'm sorry if this looks bad, I walked out to get some fresh air and I saw a woman hopping on the buildings towards here. When I got here and saw all of your guards unconscious, I called for my locker to get my weapon. I got up here and fought with a woman, but when you got up here she disappeared. Rwby says. Alright, but come to my office in the morning to give a more in-depth explanation. They hear and look over and see Ozpin. Now Ms. Rose head back to the dance. Ozpin says. Alright, Professor Ozpin. She responds. NKLS, dorm room. We find 7 people in the room. Naruto, Weiss, and Rwby are all asleep on his bed. Kiba and Yang are asleep on his bed. And Shikamaru and Temari are asleep on his bed. Knock, knock, knock. They all rise up slowly, everyone being in their pajamas. Naruto gets up and he walks slowly to the door, still asleep. Yawn, who is it? Naruto asks, just wanting to go back to sleep. Oh, Naruto, Blake, Team JNPR, and Temari's brothers asked me to get all of you. Also Team CFVY is back. Also today is the day of first year students go on missions with veteran huntsmen. They all hear Lee say. Right, it's Monday, I hate Mondays. Naruto says jokingly, making everyone chuckle. Alright Lee, we'll all be there in a couple minutes. R and Kankaram handed me some clothes for Temari. They then hear Velvet say. Oh well Temari, you can change in our room. Yang says as she opens the door. But the girls. So Rwby, who did you go with? Velvet asks. Please tell me you went with Naruto. She squeals in her head. Who else, Naruto? Rwby responds. Neither of you seem like you dance, but please tell me you danced at least once. Velvet squeals. Oh, Velvet, they did more than dance. Yang says, showing her the picture of Naruto and Rwby making out. Oh, that's so sweet and you look so cute in that dress, but how do you feel about this, Weiss? Velvet asks. Velvet, Naruto and Rwby aren't a couple, more like Naruto, Rwby and Weiss are a trio. Yang says, making Rwby and Weiss blush. Oh wow, I would not have guessed that. Most guys would have chosen one or the other. Velvet says. Well, Velvet, Naruto isn't most guys and it doesn't come down that he wouldn't choose, but more like he couldn't choose. Weiss says. Velvet, Weiss is right, Naruto doesn't have it in him to choose. He loves both of us and we don't mind sharing him with each other. Rwby says, blushing slightly. Oh, it's alright, it's nice to see someone making this type of relationship work. Velvet says. They then walk out of Rwby's dorm room, seeing the boys waiting and leaning against the wall. Come on, let's go get some breakfast. Kiba says. Yeah, also I can't wait to see Coco's reaction when she sees that. Velvet says, pointing at Rwby and Weiss holding on to both of Naruto's arms. Yeah, she'll freak, most guys would say he's lucky, but it's the truth. They all hear Kiba. Cafeteria. What happened while we were gone? Coco yells when she sees all of them walk into the cafeteria, everyone being in their regular clothes. Quite a lot happened while you were gone, most prominently being Naruto, Rwby, and Weiss getting together. Blake says. After a couple minutes they all sat at the table. Someone please tell me you took pictures of stuff that night. Coco yells. Oh, don't worry Ms. Adele, every interesting happening was recorded and many pictures were taken throughout the night. They look and see Osborn. You need only ask, since you couldn't be there. He says. Oh hello Professor Osborn, what are you doing here? Alistair asks. Just seeing how all the students and visiting students are doing, also Naruto, Shikamaru, Rwby and Blake, after you're done eating I'd like to speak to you in my office. Osborn says. Of course Dad. Naruto says. What do you think he wants to talk to the 4 of you about? Yatsuhashi asks. Don't know, but I'm pretty sure he wants to talk about the woman you fought last night, Rwby. Naruto says. Probably, we might want to be quick. Rwby says. Yeah, with Uncle Ironwood, it'd be good to be quick. Naruto says. Osborn's office. Thanks for coming you 4, but first Rwby, we want to know about the woman you fought last night. Osborn says. Of course, and last night I told Naruto what happened and after he reminded me, I think it was the woman who saved Torchwick the night you let us in. Rwby says. Don't worry Rwby, none of us are mad at you for telling Naruto, I'd be surprised if you didn't tell him. Naruto, what makes you think that it was the same woman who saved Torchwick? Osborn says. Well, Rwby said that the woman had dust woven into her clothes, which itself isn't as common as it used to be, and she was able to manipulate dust, just like the woman who saved Torchwick. Now Dad, why did you want to talk to the 4 us? Naruto says. Ah yes, well you know that missions for first years are today. Osborn asks. Yeah, what, do you have some kind of special job for us? Naruto asks. Well, kind of, there is a job that will bring the takers to the southeast, and while this would normally be too much for first years, we're willing to let 2 first-year teams take it. With how much a lot of this has to do with things involving your teams and how much information you individually have, we thought that you'd be the best choice. Osborn says. What is the catch of this mission? Naruto asks, surprising his friends and making the adult smirk. Just as sharp as ever Naruto, well there will be 2 huntsmen instead of 1, and we ask that you try to find Torchwick's base. We don't expect you to find it, but at least try. Ironwood says. Interesting Uncle Ironwood, so Blake, what do you say? Naruto asks. Why are you asking my opinion, Naruto? Blake asks. Well, Naruto and Rwby are the leaders of our teams, they do take our feelings and opinions into account, and this mission has more to do with you than us. Shikamaru says. Well, if it's no problem, I'd like to take the job. Blake says. Alright, how about you, Rwby? Naruto asks. But you need to ask. Rwby asks, smiling. Alright, then it's settled, we'll take the mission. Naruto says. Splendid, then put both you team names into the computer. Ozpin says, as they do so. Now you have around 4 hours to prepare, so get on that. Ozpin says. Of course. Naruto says, as they leave. Are you sure this course of action is wise? Ironwood asks. As much as I truly hate sending them, their teams would have found a way to the southeast anyway. Ozpin says. Half to dorms. So Professor Ozpin gave our teams a joint mission. I've never known something like this happening for first years on their first mission. Yang says. It's pretty simple, Yang. Dad knows with what we've done since we've been here, one of our teams would make our way to the southeast. Naruto says. So let's get ready for our mission. Naruto says. Right, let's go Team Rwby. Rwby says. Yep, let's go get ready Team NKLS. Naruto says. 4 hours later, dorms. Team NKLS is sitting in their room when they hear a scream come from Team Rwby's room, and Naruto and Kiba shoot out of the room to see why they screamed, and when they get to the door, Naruto stops Kiba from just opening the door and knocks on the door. Come in. They hear Rwby say. Is everything alright? Naruto asks. As he opens the door, the first thing he notices is Blake cowering on Rwby's bunk. Yeah, everything's alright, apparently Blake's afraid of dogs. Yang says, trying not to laugh. Few dog, what's his name? Naruto asks when he sees a black and white corgi. This is Zwei. Rwby says, but then Zwei jumps on Naruto, knocking him down and starts licking his face, making everyone laugh. So was Blake the origin of the scream we heard? Kiba asks. Yeah, sorry if we scared you too. Rwby says. It's alright. Naruto says, sitting up and petting Zwei. Naruto, why did you take the time to knock on the door after you two heard the scream? Yang asks. Well, Yang, for all I knew, something could have scared one of you while you were all changing. I will not walk into your room without knowing your decency. Naruto says, as if it was obvious. Well, I doubt Rwby, Weiss or Kiba would have minded. Yang says, making said people blush. Oh Wolfie, your face is pretty red, would you like a gift after our mission? Yang says, smiling, and laughs when Kiba faints with a scarlet face. Yang. Blake says. Yeah, Blake. Yang says, turning around and notices how red Rwby and Weiss are. Ah, and I bet the snow angel wouldn't mind seeing Naruto's little angel either after everything's said and done. Yang says, smirking, but notices Weiss is currently in her own little world. Yang, what do you mean by that? Rwby asks innocently. Poor innocent Rwby, you of all people would probably like to see his secret weapon. Yang says, smiling at Ruby's confused face, but smirks when Rwby and Naruto's faces seemingly create a new shade of red. Would all first-year students please report to the amphitheater? Comes from the speakers. UML, let's go. Naruto says, shaking Kiba awake. Amphitheater. They walk into the amphitheater and see students from all the schools, and Rwby has a large backpack. Quiet. Quiet, please. Professor Ozpin would like to share a few words before we begin. Goodwitch says. The day we stand together, united. Mistral, Atlas, Vacuo, and Vale, the 4 kingdoms of Remnant. On this day, nearly 80 years ago, the largest war in recorded history came to an end. It was a war of ignorance, of greed, and of oppression. A war that was about much more than where borders fell or who traded with whom, but about the very idea of individualism itself. We fought for countless reasons, one of which being the destruction of all forms of art and self-expression. And as you are well aware, that was something many could not stand for. As a result, those who opposed this tyranny began naming their children after one of the core aspects of art itself. Color. It was their way to demonstrate that not only would they refuse to tolerate this oppression, but neither would the generations to come. And it was a trend that is held to this very day. We encourage individuality, expressionism, and unity through diversity. As I have said, today we stand together, united. But this bond cannot exist without effort. This is why today, while the rest of the world celebrates peace, huntsmen and huntresses will work to uphold it. As first-year students, you will be tasked with shadowing a professional huntsman or huntress on a mission. Some of you may be taken out of the kingdom for several days. Others may work within the walls for the rest of the week. But no matter which path you choose, remember to be safe, remember your training, and remember to do your very best. Ozpin says. Well, come on, we already have our mission. Naruto says. Right, let's go. Rwby says, as they walk out towards the bullheads but are surprised when they see Crow and another man waiting outside the bullhead. The other male has messy green hair, brown eyes, and he's wearing a long brown greatcoat, a khaki-buttoned safari shirt and a pith helmet, also has a rather large backpack. Hello ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to fight for your lives? The man asks quickly. Dr. Oobleck, Mr. Branwen, you're who we're shadowing. Naruto asks cheerily. Yeah kiddo, so no lip locking on this mission. Crow says making Naruto, Rwby, Weiss, Kiba and Yang blush. Noted. Blake says chuckling. Let's go. Crow says. Right, Team RWBY and NKLSR search and destroy starts now. Oobleck says quickly as he zooms to the bullhead. At least you're here to keep this mission interesting Uncle Crow. Yang says. I get what you mean. By the way when we get there our two groups are going to separate and then meet back up before night falls. I'll take NKLS and Oobleck will get RWBY, is that alright with all of you? Crow asks as they all get on the bullhead. Bullhead. It's been a couple hours since they left for Mountain Glen and we find Naruto sitting on one bench asleep with Rwby and Weiss also asleep with their heads on his shoulders and he's holding Ruby's backpack. Kiba is sitting on the floor asleep with Yang sitting in his lap asleep. Oobleck is sitting closest to the door looking at these two groups smiling. Crow is sitting right beside Oobleck staring at a flask while Lee, Shikamaru and Blake are sitting in the back talking. Crow don't you dare get plastered. Oobleck whispers. Don't worry Oobleck, with Naruto being around I am not getting plastered. Crow whispers. What does Naruto have to do with this? Oobleck whispers. Well you know how Naruto is scarred right? Crow whispers. Yeah. Oobleck whispers. Well it scars more than just him not wanting to see all but one of his family, he also has a hidden power that causes him to lose control of himself if he uses it and it's that scar that causes it. He thinks it's because of that power that his parents got rid of him so he's afraid of his power, so he's too afraid to try to control it. Crow whispers. Oh, that's very sad, do any of his friends know about it? Oobleck whispers. Only one of his friends knows, John Ark. Crow whispers. So why have you let your niece get so close to him? Oobleck whispers but winces when Crow hits him in his side. Because Rwby along with Weiss have helped him heal more in the short time they've known him than any of us who already knew. Crow whispers sternly and after that the ride to Mountain Glen is silent. Mountain Glen. We find Lee shaking Naruto's shoulder. Naruto, Rwby and Weiss we're at our destination. Lee says. Fine. The three of them say waking up but Naruto smells something coming from Rwby's backpack. Really Rwby? Naruto says deadpan. What? Rwby responds as Naruto hands her backpack to her with a knowing smile. Your dog has a surprising amount of aura. Naruto says and Rwby freezes when everyone else looks at her. What? Rwby squeaks out. We're here to investigate an abandoned urban jungle teeming with death and hostility and you brought a dog. Genius. Canines are historically known for their perceptive nose and heightened sense of sound, making them excellent companions for a hunt such as ours. Oobleck shouts. You hear that I'm a genius? Rwby says proudly. Yeah an accidental one. Naruto says jokingly, making Rwby pout. So mean. Rwby says making everyone laugh but then she joins in after a minute of pouting. But then they hear howling down the street and they all take out their weapons Naruto with his in the form of a high-powered revolver, Crow pulls out a large blade that shifts out into a side and Oobleck takes his thermos and it pops out into a torch-shaped flamethrower. Hey kids how about you take charge of this fight? Crow says. Sure Uncle Crow, okay Arctic Fox. Rwby yells. Naruto and Weiss nod their heads as Naruto clicks his weapon again and it turns into the anti-material rifle form as a glyph appears ahead of him as he puts the barrel right against the glyph and pulls the trigger, turning the aura bullet into an ice dust round and it hits the Beowulf in the center and it erupts into ice and 5 other Beowulfs get speared on ice. I'm actually impressed with that. Crow says with slightly wide eyes. But let's get started, Team NKLS with me. He says. Okay, all 5 of you stay safe. Naruto says as he hugs Rwby and Weiss, while Kiba hugs Yang. And to you Mr. Uzumaki. Oobleck says shaking Naruto's hand. Uncle Crow, don't let our boyfriends do anything stupid. Both Rwby and Yang say at the same time. Oh already calling Naruto, you're and Weiss's boyfriend. Crow says teasing Rwby as she blushes. Okay no more teasing, you two don't be reckless and be careful. He says, patting them on the back as he and NKLS separate from Oobleck and RWBY. Shikamaru. We currently see Shikamaru having got done dealing with some Beowulfs and Crow is watching him. So Nara, I know that you're from Atlas and I want to know why you want to be a huntsman. Crow says. Well I won't lie and say it wasn't expected of me, being a Nara and all my family have been huntsmen for generations. But I also want to help people, along with proving that not everyone from Atlas are selfish with their head crammed up their ass. Shikamaru finishes slightly angry. I see. Crow says a bit surprised at his answer. Yang. We see Oobleck speaking to Yang. Tell me, Yang. Why did you choose this line of work? He asks. Well, to fight monsters and save she says but is interrupted. No, that is what you do. I want to know why you do it. The honest reason as to why you want to be a huntress. He says. The honest reason? I'm a thrill seeker. I want to travel around the world and get wrapped up in as many crazy adventures as I can. And if I help people along the way, then that's even better. It's a win-win, you know. She says honestly. I see. Oobleck says. Kiba. Crow talks to Kiba after he just got done dealing with some Ursa. So Wolfie, why do you want to become a huntsman? Crow asks. Well, I love adventure and if I help people along the way it's all the better. Hey Crow, have you ever been to Vacuo? Kiba asks. Of course, I've been all over Remnant, why Crow asks. What's your take on Vacuo? Kiba asks. Well, I guess you know this, Vacuo has an unspoken rule: if you can survive here you're welcome here, that's my take. Crow says. But my appearance being more animalistic than other faunas, like you said, I've always had to fight to survive. I got tired of fighting for myself, so I thought, how about I fight for more than just myself? Kiba says. Interesting. Crow says. Weiss. Oobleck speaks to Weiss after she gets done dealing with a Beowulf. So, Miss Schnee. A girl born into fame and fortune such as yourself certainly doesn't need the extra work. So why choose this over a cushy job in Atlas? Oobleck asks. At one time I probably would have said that as a Schnee, I have a legacy of honor to uphold. But now I just want to help as many people as I can. Weiss says. Interesting. Oobleck says. You've certainly changed since you got here. He thinks with a smile. Lee. Crow watches as Lee gets done dealing with some small Deathstalkers. It's kind of weird that there are Deathstalkers in the city. Crow thinks. So ball of energy, I want to know, why do you want to be a huntsman? He asks. Well, it's not something as valorous as Naruto or Rwby's reason. I just want to give all other orphans hope that they can be more than what people say we can. Lee says honestly. Hey, it's alright, that's not the worst reason to become a huntsman, and yes, it may be a bit selfish, but it is a decent reason. Crow says, trying to cheer him up. Blake. Oobleck watches as Blake slashes a door down and releases a swarm of small Nevermores from the building, which she backflips under before she shoots them all with her blade's pistol form. And what about you, Blake? You seem to carry yourself with a sense of purpose. He asks. There's too much wrong in this world to just stand by and do nothing. Inequality, corruption, someone has to stop it. She responds. Very well. How? He asks. She says. Oobleck looks like he's thinking deeply. Rwby and Oobleck. Rwby is using her weapon in the most practical fashion and lifting a whole turkey on the sharp end of her gun to tease a jumping and flipping sway with. That is, until she spots Oobleck watching, quickly sheathing crescent rose. Sorry. Are we ready to keep going? Rwby asks nervously. Nope. I believe that will have to do for today. It's going to be dark soon. Oobleck says, throwing his backpack over to Yang. You three set up camp in that building. Oh, and please do make sure there are no more of those creatures. Your leader and I are going to secure the perimeter. Come, Rwby. He says as he points at a building. Rwby and Oobleck walk around the corner and she sees a Goliath. Is that a Grim? I've never seen one like that. Rwby says. Rwby, that my dear is a Goliath. Oobleck says. Should we kill it? Rwby asks, taking out Crescent Rose in its rifle form. No, and I'm afraid your sniper rifle will do nothing more than agitate a Grim of that size. He says. But what if it attacks us? She asks. Fret not, Rwby, those Goliaths are not concerned with us. Rwby, not every Grim is mindless, or rather not every Grim is still mindless. You see, the Grim you see before you are so powerful, so superior to the Grim you fought, that they've undoubtedly lived hundreds of years, and in that time between killing humans and attacking our borders, they have done one important thing. They've learned. They've learned that when they attack our borders, they're likely to die, and what we lack in strength, we make up for in will, and that killing one human will only bring more. He responds. Then why are they still so close to the city? What are they doing? Rwby asks. Waiting. Oobleck responds. Dr. Oobleck, I was wondering, Rwby says. Wondering why I've been interrogating your teammates all day? He asks. Actually, I was wondering why did you want to become a huntsman? She asks. Look around and tell me what you see. He says. Lots of old buildings, empty streets, she says. I see lives that could have been saved. As a huntsman, it is my job to protect the people, and although I am capable of doing it with traditional weaponry, I believe I can make a much larger impact if I do it with my mind. As a teacher, I'm able to take knowledge, the most powerful weapon of them all, and place it in the hands of every student that passes through my classroom. I look at this wasteland, and I see lives that could have been saved, but I also see an opportunity. An opportunity to study these ruins and learn from this tragedy, and therefore become stronger. I am a huntsman, Rwby, because there is nothing else in this world I would rather be. Oobleck says. NKLS and Crow. Alright guys, we should be heading back. Crow says. Wait. They hear both Naruto and Kiba say, each whose animal ears are propped up in warning. I'm hearing a whole lot of noise coming from that building, but mainly roaring. Crow, are we going to check it out? Naruto asks. Well, we might as well check it out. Crow says, as they all walk into the building. It's still showing the outside of the building and the camera pans up and we see the sign Merlin Industries. We find Team NKLS and Crow walking around the lobby of the building. So do you two still hear anything? Crow asks Naruto and Kiba when they notice both of their animal ears flop down and they hold them in slight pain. Yes, but it's all coming from under us though. Naruto and Kiba say, slightly whimpering. Well, what do you think we should do, go get Oobleck and Team Rwby or check it ourselves? Shikamaru asks Crow. For the moment we'll check it ourselves. If it's something big or Torchwick and the White Fang, then we'll go and get the others. Crow says. Alright, do you want us in a specific order? Naruto asks. Hey Nar, you have an idea on an order? Crow asks. Shouldn't you put us in an order? We are shadowing you after all. Shikamaru says. You may be shadowing me, but us veterans aren't just here to lead you, but also see how the teams we're watching work together without our input. Crow says. Okay then, Kiba will be in front, Lee will be behind him, Crow you will be in the middle, I'll be behind you, and Naruto will be in the back. Shikamaru proposes. Smart, putting the two who have the best senses on both ends and myself in the middle, just in case either end of the formation is in trouble. Crow says, and they proceed to move in the proposed formation. After half an hour they find a rather large office. Okay Lee, Shikamaru, and Naruto search around the room and me and Kiba will stay by the door. Crow says. Right. They all say, as NLS start looking around. Naruto heads to the desk in the back of the room and he looks through the desk and filing cabinets and finds only one file labeled GE number 666. Well, that's a bit disconcerting. Naruto says as he starts reading. Dr. Merlit, GE number 666 is turning out to be more violent than any other GE. I don't know what to do here. Whenever we put other Grimm in the room with him, he tears them to pieces unless they're other GEs. Naruto reads and flips through a couple more files in this holder and sees a picture of what looks like a kid, but he has horns sticking out of his forehead, a fragment of what looks like the white bone on the Grimm on his left eye, and finishes with very long black claws. Shikamaru, Lee, you two try to find files with the initials GE on them. Naruto says as he takes the file holder to Crow. You might want to take a look at these, the picture in particular. He says, handing the files to Crow. What the hell, at the point in time this picture was taken was before the Mountain Glen settlement was lost. And the kid in this picture has to be 5 years old. Crow says. Naruto, me and Shikamaru found this file holder, but there are only 2 files in it. Lee says. That's alright Lee. Naruto says, pulling the 2 files out. The first one is labeled what is a GE, hope this answers some stuff. He says. GE stands for Grimm Experiments, meaning trying to control the Grimm. But we never managed, but we made them go through some kind of mutation. These guys were fucking insane. Naruto says as he reads the other paper that is labeled who is and who was GE number 666. Well, isn't that convenient? He says. GE number 666 was once Dr. Merlit's very own son, but one day we still don't know why young Merlit did it, but he injected himself with the essence of the Grimm and the chemical that causes the mutation. Well, that's fucked. Naruto says and hands the files to Crow. This place was experimenting on Grimm and that kid was once the son of the head scientist Drive. Merlit. He says. What the hell, Oz and Jimmy aren't going to like this. Crow says, but then they hear creaking. What was that? Lee says as the floor crumbles underneath them. Team Rwby and Oobleck. Professor Rwby says. Do not worry Rwby 1. They have Crow and 2. They are strong to the point that even Team CFVY is leery about sparring with them. Team NKLS is alright. Oobleck says. Alright. Rwby says. Team NKLS and Crow. Hour later. What the hell happened? Naruto asks, noticing they're all getting up. It seems that the floor caved under us. Crow says, looking up. It seems we fell into some kind of cavern. Kiba says. You're mostly right, Kiba. Shikamaru says, pointing up to an observation room. Well, that can't be good. I hope this Grimm human isn't down here. Naruto says as he clicks his weapon, shifting it into the high-powered revolver. Good idea Naruto, everyone get their weapons ready. Crow says as he brings out Harbinger. What a surprise, I haven't had anyone to play with in a long time. They all hear. Naruto looks over to the mouth of the cave and frowns when he sees a guy that looks like an adult version of the kid in the picture, but now he look even more like a Grimm, but all of the usual red intricate symbols and lines are glowing green. I hope you can give me and my friends some entertainment. He says as 4 beetles with glowing green crystals on them walk into the cave. Okay, you 4 deal with the beetles, I'll deal with Mr. Merlit. Crow says. Naruto. Right. Naruto says as he shoots one of the beetles, but he notices that it barely phases it. What the hell, we need to be careful here guys, and Crow you better be careful too. He says as he clicks his weapon and it turns into the anti-material rifle. He shoots it again, this time blowing a chunk of its chest apart, but notices while it felt that one it's still standing. What does it take to put these things down? Naruto yells as he shoots it again, this time blowing its head apart. Kiba. Right. Kiba says as he shoots some fire dust rounds at one of them, blowing its arm off, and it roars in rage. It rushes at Kiba, who releases his claws as he dodges to the left and brings his arm up, taking its other arm off. Then he points his other arm at the beetle's head and blows it apart. Well, that was easier than I thought. Kiba says. Lee. Yes sir. Lee says as the air around him starts distorting harshly. I'm going stage 6 since these things are tougher than normal beetles. Lee thinks as he appears in front of one of the beetles and bashes his leg through its head, but he feels something in his leg snap, and when he lands he falls down because of it. Shikamaru. Lee. Shikamaru yells as he connects his shadow to the last Beowulf and unloads an entire clip into its head. Full team. Shikamaru, you stay with Lee, me and Kiba will help Crow. Naruto orders. Right. Shikamaru and Kiba say as Shikamaru crouches by Lee and Naruto and Kiba stand by Crow and Naruto shifts his weapon into its scythe form. Well, it's been a while since worthwhile prey found their way here. Merlit says, smiling. Be careful you two. Crow says as the blade on his sword flips down and he shoots a pair of shotgun shells at Merlit, who dodges but then appears in front of Naruto but is surprised when Naruto reacts much faster than he expected and swings his scythe, almost getting his arm lopped off. Well, that's strange. My senses of danger are going off from Euphronis. Merlit says as Naruto takes another swing at Merlit, but he dodges and Naruto jumps back, turning his weapon back into the revolver and shoots again, actually catching him in the face this time. And unlike the Beowulf, he screams in pain. You little bastard. Merlit roars as rushes at Naruto much faster than any of them expected and slashes at Naruto, but is surprised when Naruto's tail comes up and grabs his wrist and twists and snaps it. Motherfucker. Merlit yells as he jumps away from them. Naruto, how strong is your tail? Kiba asks. Pay attention to the fight, Kiba. Naruto orders. Alright, sorry. Kiba says as he shoots at Merlit with some fire dust rounds, and they actually hit him, scorching him and cracking a lot of the bone fragments. You stupid worthless little animals. Merlit grinds out, pissed as he rushes at Kiba in a blind rage but loses his left arm in thanks of Crow. Motherfucker. He roars in anger before a hole appears in his head in thanks to Naruto, and like a normal Grim his body disintegrates. Let's go, Naruto, you still have enough aura, right? Crow asks as they walk over to Shikamaru and Lee and they see him close his eyes. Yeah, we're not actually very far from Team Rwby and Dr. Oobleck. Let's go. Naruto says as they disappear in a flash of yellow. Team Rwby and Oobleck. They are all startled by a yellow flash of light but calm down when they see it's Team NKLS and Crow. But then they notice how they are carrying Lee. What happened? Oobleck yells. Dr. Oobleck, could you please check Lee's leg? Naruto asks as they lay Lee down. Of course, but what happened? Oobleck asks. After half an hour of him checking Lee's leg and Crow filling them on what happened. That's a heck of a thing you guys went through. And well, Lee, your leg is broken in 3 separate spots. He says, then they notice Naruto typing something on his scroll. Naruto, you not thinking what I think you are? Crow asks. Lee needs medical attention and Dad and Uncle Ironwood need to see those files. Naruto says as he sends a message, and after a few minutes he gets a reply. Okay Lee, be careful with your leg and get better. He says, putting his hand on Lee's shoulder and handing the files to him, and after a minute Lee disappears in a flash of yellow and Naruto falls on his butt in exhaustion. Yep, gonna need sleep after that one. He says, lying down and falling asleep, instantly causing them all to chuckle. Naruto's got the right idea, you kids get some sleep, I'll take first watch. Crow says as he sits down looking over the streets. Next morning. Hey everyone, it's time to wake up, it's morning. Yang says, waking everyone up. Okay Firecracker, good job. We'll be splitting up again today, but differently. Today it'll be me, Naruto, and Rwby. Then there is Oobleck, Kiba, and Yang. Finally there is Shikamaru, Blake, and Weiss. Now let's go. Crow says as they walk out. Crow, why did you split us up like this? I understand Yang and Kiba, the two of them are pretty brash. But what about the two of us and Shikamaru, Weiss, and Blake? Naruto asks. Well, with Shikamaru the kid keeps a level head no matter the situation, and both Weiss and Blake are too close to the situation on 2 different fronts, thus Shikamaru should be able to keep them in line. Crow says. What's your reason for me and Rwby? Not that I mind. Naruto says. Well, you two just work together just as well, if not better than with your own partners, it'd be stupid to separate the two of you. Crow says. "Oh, well thank you Uncle Crow," Rwby says. "Thanks Crow," Naruto says, but then they hear cracking noises. Crow and Naruto jumps back, but Rwby doesn't react quickly enough as the street collapses under and she falls. "Rwby," he yells, drawing the others. "What's going on?" Yang yells. Why isn't it working? I can't teleport her back," Naruto says, freaking out. "What?" all but Crow and Oobleck says. "Makes sense actually, considering last night you had to go to bed because of teleporting Lee back to Beacon, you overdid that aspect of your semblance, and you won't be able to teleport someone else without you going yourself for a while," Oobleck says after he finishes saying that they notice Naruto grab Crescent Rose and he disappears in a flash of yellow. "You know normally I would never say someone being in love is a bad thing, but in the entire time I've known Naruto I've never seen him acting so irrationally. But it's nice to see him so much in love, but I also have no doubt he'd react the same for you Weiss," Crow says, annoyed. "Rwby." We see Rwby being dragged by her arms and we see White Fang everywhere. Boss, we found something you might want to see," a White Fang member says. "Is it good or bad Perry? Because let me tell you, I have had a day." Surprising Rwby, she hears Torchwick. It's a little girl," Perry says, confused. "That would be bad," Torchwick says, sticking his head out the doorway, but before anything else can be said Perry's face finds itself in the ground. "Get away from her," Naruto yells, and Rwby notices his ears and tail are orange and his eyes are crimson, but something new is going on. The whisker marks on his face have thickened. He jumps back, taking Rwby with him and hands her Crescent Rose, and then there is a massive explosion further away. "Oh ho, you seem even more protective of Red than last time we saw each other Foxy," Torchwick says, chuckling. "If you get anywhere near Rwby, I will kill you," Naruto says as the rest of the group gets to them and they notice the train starts moving. "We need to stop that train," Crow says as he knocks Naruto over the head. "Calm down Naruto," he says as all of Naruto's features return to normal. "Yes, sorry about that," Naruto says as they jump onto the rearmost car on the train. "Well shit," he says as he opens the hatch to get in the train, but he sees a bomb. "Crow, we have a bomb here," he says, then the bomb starts beeping. "Seriously shit," Naruto deadpans. "Let's go, Blake, detach the caboose, it will kill us all," Oobleck says, but then the car detaches itself and when it gets a distance away it explodes, destroying a chunk of the ceiling and Grim fall into the cavern. "This is bad. They're going to let Grim into Vale," he says. "This isn't good either," Kiba says, looking into the next few hatches and sees they all have bombs in them. They all keep running atop the train as cars are detaching and exploding, letting more Grim into the tunnel. "Okay, me and Crow stay out here and fight, you all go in and try to stop this train," Oobleck says. "No problem," Kiba says as they go into the train car. As they are about to step into the next car they see Blake freeze. "Hey, what's wrong Blake?" Yang asks as they all walk into the train car and Weiss freezes in fear when she spots Blue in the same outfit he was in when they saw him at the docks. "Well, it's about time Namikaze, I've been waiting for you," they hear him say, and Naruto, Rwby and Weiss's eyes widen when he says Namikaze and they see him step out of the way of the door to the next car. "I only have business with one of you so the rest of you can go on ahead," he says. "Not gonna happen," they all hear Weiss say. "I know who you are, bloody fox, all the people from my family's company and some of my own family were killed by you. I will not lose the man I love because of you too," she says. "I'll stay here with you too also, plus he knows Naruto's actual surname," Rwby says, but they notice he's surprised. "That's fine," Blue says. "Are you sure about this Weiss, Rwby?" Blake asks. "Of course, and here this should help you," Weiss says, handing Blake a magazine filled with dust vials, and they all head into the next train car. Kiba, Yang, Blake, Shikamaru. As they are running through the car they see the woman who saved Torchwick and she is smirking. "You two go on ahead Yang and I'll deal with her," Kiba says as Yang fires a round out of her gauntlets to distract Neo. Blake and Shikamaru run past into the next car. Both Yang and Kiba run at Neo and attack her. She dodges Yang's punch but is slightly caught by surprise when the claws are released and she brings her umbrella up to block the attack. Now on guard with his gauntlets, she weaves between all of their punches and slashes. In Kiba's case, she starts flipping around them and hitting them with her umbrella, smirking the entire time, pissing them off. They both start seeing red and rush at Neo, who just continues to weave between all of their attack until she weaves herself behind them and hit them both over the head, knocking them out. She pulls out the hidden blade in her umbrella to stab the two of them, but then a red blade appears between her and Yang and Kiba. She follows the blade and sees a woman with long jet black hair, bright red eyes, and wearing an outfit consisting of a shallow cut black and red dress with black shorts underneath, with a series of beaded necklaces and a belt that wraps around her waist and carries her weapons sheath. Attached also is a long black object that is either fur or feathers, with a red and white bandana material like hanging from behind her. Her forearms bear red armored gauntlets that protrude outwards and solid black gloves. She wore black mid-thigh-high leggings with red splatter patterns and black heels. Her most distinctive feature is a fearsome full-face mask that resembles the face of a creature of Grimm. Neo's eyes turn wide in fear and she disappears. Blake and Shikamaru. They walk into the next car and see a big Franus. He has the normal white fang uniform outside of his has no hood and has a high collar, and he has a custom Grimm mask that covers his whole face and has red eyes with thin red streaks streaming to the bottom of the mask. Before he can say anything he notices he can't move. "What the hell, why can't I move?" the guy says. "Blake, knock him out," Shikamaru yells. "Right," Blake says, hitting the guy in the back of his neck. They run into the next car and see Torchwick and they pull the same trick. Naruto, Rwby, Weiss, and Blue. "It's nice to see that there seems to be another decent Schnee in this world," Blue says nonchalantly as he flicks his wrist and the doorway is covered by some type of blue wall. "Why did you want face me in particular, Blue?" Naruto asks. They hear him sigh and watch him drop his hood as he lifts his hand up to his mask and pull his mask off. He has spiky red hair, violet eyes, red fox ears, and whisker marks. "It's been a while, hasn't it, little brother?" Blue says. Naruto falls to his knee with tears streaming down his eyes. "I can't be Menma," Naruto says, surprised. Rwby and Weiss are by his side in an instant. "It's alright, Naruto," Weiss and Rwby say. "Well, this is the worst place to reveal myself to you," Menma says. "No, you see, can't be, my brother would never help the White Fang," Naruto says, slightly hysterical. "Naruto, calm down please," Rwby and Weiss say. "Well, to be exact, I've been in the White Fang since I was 8, quite before the change in leadership. It was only after the change that I ended up with my alias of the Bloody Fox, being one of the bloodiest killers. I'm pretty sure you can attest to that, Schnee," Menma says. No, shut up, I can't deal with this," Naruto says, grabbing Weiss and Rwby's hands, and they disappear in a flash of yellow. "Interesting, a teleportation semblance. Very interesting, little brother," Menma says. "With everyone else." We see everyone else gathered up on top of the train, including both Oobleck and Crow. They are all relieved to see the flash of yellow, but are freaked when they see how he just seems withdrawn in on himself. "What happened?" Crow asks. "The Bloody Fox happened," Weiss says. "You fought the Bloody Fox and survived," Blake yells. "No, he talked to us, Uncle Crow, we know who he is, his real identity," Rwby says. "Why should we care who he is?" Kiba asks. "Uncle Crow, his real name is Menmanamicus," Rwby says seriously, and Crow's eyes widen. "Who is this guy, Rwby? You're making him sound more important than he is, he's just a member of the White Fang," Yang says. "Damn it, now Naruto's in no state to fight if something goes wrong," Crow says. "You to Uncle Crow, who is Menma?" Yang asks. Sai Menmanamicus is Naruto's blood elder brother, along with being the only member of his blood family that he ever wanted to see again. "But as you can see, not under these circumstances," Crow says. "Not to throw this problem under the bus, but we have 2 problems approaching," Shikamaru says, pointing at the fast approaching tunnel end, and a guy who he realizes must be Menma for the simple fact that he's wearing the exact same clothes as the Bloody Fox was. "Yeah, that's Menma, why some type of barrier please," Rwby says. "Of course," Weiss says as she stabs Mertenister into the train, making a large shield of ice around them. And after a few seconds the train collides with a wall and breaks through the ceiling into the center of Vale. They all get up as they hear emergency alarms going off and Grimm flooding out of the hole. "Well shit, okay, Naruto's in no shape to fight at the moment, you guys stay back and protect him," Crow orders. "Right," they all say as Crow and Oobleck attack Grimm and both Rwby and Weiss run to Naruto. "Naruto, we are in a very dangerous situation and I can't know what you're going through right now, but please, pull yourself together," Rwby says, pulling him into a hug. "Rwby, I know how you feel right now, but focus on the Grimm, I don't want to lose either of you," Weiss says, but then they hear 2 bullheads. They look up and see Team CFVY, Professor Port, Team JNPR, and General Ironwood. "Pro, what's going on?" Ironwood asks. "Torchwick, CFVY and JNPR go over there and help RWBY and NKLS," Crow orders as Port and Ironwood join Crow and Oobleck fighting the Grimm along with Ironwood's Elysian Knights. "What's going on? What happened? I've never seen Naruto like this," John yells. "Darkness. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get up. All of our friends are in danger. Weiss and Rwby are in danger. They can't protect themselves and us at the same time." Naruto hears from all around him before he feels a rush of anger. "Reality. Rwby, look out." Yang yells, seeing a Beowulf running towards her and she can't get to her in time. And Rwby won't be able to react in time. They all turn to help Rwby, but see none of them can get to her in time either. Rwby looked behind her to see a Beowulf in mid-swipe at her, but surprising everyone watching, Naruto appears holding back the Beowulf's attack with just his forearm. They then see him take a hold of its arm and, scaring them, rips the Beowulf's arm off and bashes his other fist into its face, turning it into paste and scaring them even further. They see him turn around and they see his hair shadowing his eyes, but they some things that are unusual, other than his ears and tail being orange. They can see the whisker marks on his cheeks are thicker, they can see hints of his upper canine sticking out of his lips, and the nails on his hands are now claws. They see him starting to walk towards the other Grim. "Okay, now we can fight," Yang says. "John, what's wrong?" they hear Purah ask. "Shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, nobody go near Naruto right now. Crow, Ironwood," John yells, but then they all hear growling and look over at Naruto and see what seems to be his aura bubbling out into some sort of cloak, and they see his tail doubles in size and splits into 9 separate tails. They see an Ursa rush at Naruto, but then they see one of his tails smashes down, splattering its head. Everyone in the square including the Grim stop and stare when they hear Naruto roaring into the sky, but then some type of pulse of power shoots out of him, seemingly freezes all of the Grim. "Ah shit," Crow says. No one notices Menma crawl out of some rubble and sees what's going on. "What the hell?" Menma say, but then he snaps his finger when Naruto rushes towards his friends and he is now surrounded by a blue barrier. Menma, why did you save us?" Weiss asks. "As hard as it'll be for you to believe me, the only thing in the last 10 years I've truly wanted to do is find my little brother. He cares about all of you. I don't know what this power he is using is, but it's easy to see that he is not in control. If you want to know what I mean, look into his eyes," Menma says, and like he said, his eyes are different. They are now slitted, a shade of crimson unique to him, and his eyes are full of what can only be called bloodlust. But then they hear a cracking sound, and as they look over at the barrier around Naruto, they see it shatter, and he appears in front of Menma and bashes his fist into Menma's chest and hear a lot of cracking, and they see Menma throw up blood, and then some type of device lands on his back, then electricity courses all over his body, knocking him unconscious, and all of his features return to normal outside of his tail staying split. "Naruto!" Weiss and Rwby yell. "Do not worry girls, he's just unconscious. That device was created in case Naruto ever lost control again," Ironwood says as he, Crow, and the teachers walk over to them. "Who is this?" he asks pointing to Menma. "Jimmy, this is the bloody fox, Menma Namikaze," Crow says. "Sigh, we need to talk to Ozpin," Ironwood says sighing. What if Rwby sees Naruto's scars? Konoha end here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.